All right. Am I live? Can people see me? Is that happening right now? I should check. This is my first time live streaming with OBS. I used StreamYard for many years, and they recently wanted more money, so I told them to kick rock. So look at that. It says I'm live. Let's turn that all the way down. Yeah, so I'm using OBS to go live for the very first time ever. So, all right, that's cool. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Congratulations up in this biatch. Let's see. How do I use OBS to show the comments? Damn, because I want to be able to respond to y'all. It's the whole point of doing this, right, is so that I can riff live and in real time with people. It's kind of one of my strengths, is to be able to just like goof off on the cuff. But I have never before used this. Let's see. How do I see the comments? YouTube live control panel. I'm looking at the YouTube live control panel. I don't see no comments. Where am I supposed to see these comments at? Okay. That did something. That opened up a window to my studio. Dashboard content. Still wasn't worth $450 or $475 or whatever they wanted for damn StreamYard. I'll figure this shit out eventually, I promise. No connection. Well, F off phone. I got what I wanted from you anyway. Done with you. All right. So OBS is opening up some windows. Oh shit, I got Sooner GM up in this bitch. Congratulations up in this bitch. You guys see this? I actually got a bottle of champagne. I'm not a champagne drinker, but I got a bottle of champagne. I'm about to pop the cork on this bitch. And, you know, that's how we celebrate. I just, you know, felt like doing the thing, you know. YouTube's going to shut me down any day now. So I'm going to say the wrong thing. I'm going to piss off the wrong person. 9/11 was an inside job. The CIA killed JFK. All of that stuff. Doesn't have anything to do with movies, but, you know, my personal opinions are probably going to get me canceled sooner or later. Oh, man. Pop's Movie Dungeon in the house. How you doing, Pop? You doing all good, man? I like Pop, even though he's old. About to go pop on this beast right here. You guys, let me make sure the camera can see that. There we go. So, yeah, I don't know how to show the comments on the screen with OBS because I'm dumb, and this is my first time streaming with OBS. So, Sitho Brick, congrats on the milestone. May the next one come twice as fast. Yeah, I bet it doesn't though. I'm only a few away from my man's Chase. I don't know how to open a bottle of champagne either. Apparently, I haven't done this, and I don't know. I haven't done this since high school. Just kidding. It's not anal. It's champagne. Did I say that out loud? All right, everybody. Here we go. Oh, I was going to hit myself in the face in front of everybody. Break my new camera, some shit. Just pop it right at the screen. Like I said, I don't normally drink champagne, so I don't have champagne flutes. I don't have anywhere to put this, and I guess I could pour it into a coffee mug like a hobo, but I don't have any champagne flutes. It feels more celebratory instead of pouring this into a coffee mug or some other such, drinking it out of a boot. It feels more celebratory to just drink it right from the bottle. So cheers, you guys. Here's to you. I don't think I'm going to get shut down over drinking a bottle of champagne from the bottle. So let's think of some other things I can do to get YouTube to shut me down tonight. Some things I could say. Really, physical media ought to be very safe. It ought to be a very safe topic. or niche that doesn't get too political. It doesn't get too wild with hot takes or anything. But I think let's do it tonight. What up, Jane Doe Letty? Is that Letty? You'll have to let me know if I'm saying that. I thought I said latte for a second. I was like, is she, maybe she's like got that creamy mocha skin. She's Jane Doe Latte. But it doesn't, it looks like a little closer. I'm not wearing my glasses, obviously, but a little closer I can see. Is it Letty? Hi, Jane Doe. Hello. The Kino Lorber sale has started. Your name here is reminding me that the Kino Lorber sale has started. I think that's great. I haven't gone to Barnes & Noble yet. It's like 45 minutes away from me, but I need to go see if I can get Xanadu with the slipcover. No slipcover. I don't know. How do you guys feel about ordering Kino Lorber from Amazon? Because I don't know why it took me a second to think of that word. I was like, what? I actually, full disclosure, guys, tonight I fell asleep putting my daughter to sleep, so I'm probably not going to be as sharp-witted as I would like normally under normal circumstances, because I was asleep half an hour ago. So, yeah, I spilled champagne on myself. I just spilled champagne on my new Friday the 13th shirt. Y'all dig that? That's from Walmart, and I got champagne all on that now. I hope that doesn't ruin the glow in the dark. That glows in the dark, but it is going to smell like champagne. This is too fizzy, honestly. I like fizzy. I like beer, but that is, that's just, I might switch to beer. I might have to switch to beer, you guys. I'll do what I can on the champagne, but my blood sugars, y'all. Y'all know what this is going to do to my blood sugars? I don't know how people drink champagne. I do not understand how girls get wasted on that, how white girls get wasted on champagne. Is gross. Yeah. How do you guys feel about buying Kino films from Amazon? That feels like a very dangerous game of Amazon roulette, if you ask me, because I've won it before. Sometimes I've lost it before. Like Summer Rental was one that I recently got from Amazon. Not recently, a couple of months ago during the summertime. I got Summer Rental from Amazon, and that didn't work out so well for me. It came without a slip. I sent it right back because no slip. I can't deal with this. I can't deal with this shit. Your name here is reminding me how much I love coloring books. Honestly, coloring books are fine if it's my 6-year-old or my 3-year-old, but if you're an adult, if you got hair on your face like I do, and you're coloring in coloring books, I don't know. I don't like that at all. That triggers me violently because I feel like as an adult, just go get some oil paints and some canvas and like paint. Like adults paint, adults make art. I'm okay with, I have an art degree. One of my degrees from University of Georgia is a studio art degree. I drew naked people. I drew dudes butt naked. I drew ladies flip-flops. I drew dudes scrotums and shit pretty much on the daily. Excuse me. I can't edit that out, can I? Normally, I edit myself out when I get, like, full of bubbles and then I burp. I usually edit that out for y'all because I'm a little bit shy with the burping. But tonight, I guess you're going to get to hear my burps because it's live. But I think adults need to just make art. Just draw a naked hobo like the good Lord intended. Don't be coloring in coloring books. But your name here, what's up, buddy? I'm very happy to see you. John Doe Juggalo, I'm very happy to see you as well. It's just let. Okay, so Miss Latte with the creamy mocha skin. I can't wait to meet her in real life. Don't tell my wife. I'm talking to a lady on the internet live in front of everybody. This is going to be embarrassing when it blows up in my face. It's just let. But I'm calling her Miss Latte from now on because that's how I roll, and that's probably what I'm going to remember. It's going to stick in my head. Miss Latte, what's good? What's good to my man's Jeff? I hope another risk of going live is that this stupid thing, Jeff knows what I'm talking about, this stupid thing, this blood glucose continuous glucose monitor. I'm at 146 right now, so I think that's a pretty good spot to sit. I'm not going to go high. I'm not going to go low. Hopefully the stupid thing doesn't start beeping at me. I got to eat fruit snacks. Jeff, I know you know what I'm talking about. You got to keep little things like this around when your blood glucose dips. If your blood glucose goes down, you got to pop some of these bad boys or, you know, something like that. Drink a juice box or something. I like fruit snacks because obviously they're just easy to keister and, you know, you don't have to keep them refrigerated or anything like that. They're shelf stable. So I keep fruit snacks within reach all the time. Jeff knows what's up because when you use insulin, that's what you got to do. Kerry Witt, what's good? Kerry Witt. Kerry says that he does not order Kino from Amazon, only Kino Lorber themselves, which I think, you know, mostly pretty safe. I think they're good about depicting on their site whether or not the slip is still included in the purchase or not. Although I have heard of people getting burned on that, like they maybe if they just hit the cutoff and Kino doesn't update their website with the image to be like no slip. But I have ordered safely from Kino, directly from Kino, several times and gotten, you know, big piles of things with slip covers. It's just Amazon that I'm very nervous about. But I do like to go to Barnes & Noble as well because it allows me to actually hold the thing in my hand and I can appraise the condition of that slip cover. Because if we're talking about a dinged up slip cover, why are we sick in the head about things like that? I think years ago, 5, 6, 7 years ago, I wasn't quite as sick in the head about slip covers and slip cases and shit like that. I would just, you know, I'd order a movie and if it came with a slip cover, great. If it didn't, I didn't really lose any sleep over it. And nowadays, that is the type of thing that I'll lose sleep over, you know? The types of things you lose sleep over as an adult. Your kids are sick. You got bills. What's going on in life? What am I even doing with myself? And is that summer rental Blu-ray that I ordered from Amazon going to come with a slipcover or not? And if it does, what kind of condition is this thing going to be in? Are these savage animals, these barely civilized bush people that they train to do all the order picking at Amazon? I mean, it's like, welcome to America. Here you go. Here's your job. Here, put on this Amazon hat. Now go get this valuable slipcover off of a shelf for this guy. And, you know, if you drop it on the floor, it's fine. You never know. I like to go to Barnes & Noble so I can appraise things. Kerry Witt says that he does not drink champagne either. Look, me neither. This is the first time I've had champagne in I don't know how long. My wife and I got married in Las Vegas. We went to Vegas to get married, which is a fine decision, and I continue to stand by that now. Even almost 10 years later, we'll be at 10 years in January, and I stand by the decision to get married in Vegas. And I'm not sure I've had champagne since then. There, of course, was champagne flowing in Las Vegas, especially if you're there getting hitched. But I'm not sure if I've had champagne since then because it's just a god-awful beverage. I would much rather have anything. I'd rather toilet wine. Have you guys ever had toilet wine? Please mention in the comments below. Have you ever had toilet wine? This is an alcoholic beverage, Pruno. It's a homemade kind of mom and pop style alcoholic beverage that is frequently made in prison in toilets, and that's why they call it toilet wine. And fermented from fruits and whatever else you can get your hands on in prison. I've had toilet wine before, yes. I live a wild life, and it's better than champagne. Toilet wine is better. The toilet wine that I've had, at least, is better than champagne. But I've already popped a bottle. I'm not even doing this because I want to. I'm doing this to celebrate with you people. Yes, I said you people. I got 4K Tent Revival up in this B. I haven't said what's up to my man Brad. Thank you for encouraging me to do this. I was thinking about doing this for the last week or so. I've been quite busy over the last week with a case study that I had to present today. But I was working on like the thumbnail for this last night. I should have been sleeping, really, because I had to present today. But I wasn't, and I was working on the thumbnail. And once I got it right, I sent it to Brad and was like, yo, I'm thinking about doing this. And my man Brad encouraged me. He said, fuck yeah. I said, all right, well, I guess I'm doing it then. Like, his response, if it had been anything but fuck yeah, then I might have been like, I'm off the hook. Like, I'll fall asleep putting my daughter to sleep, and then I'll just sleep till Saturday. That's fine. I'll just waste a Friday night. But his response was fuck yeah, so we're here. And I popped a bottle of champagne, so I got to drink at least. I'm gonna set the goal for myself to drink at least half of this thing, because I don't like wasting. I don't know how you guys feel about like food waste and throwing things away. I have a hard time with that. I'm not gonna force myself to drink this whole terrible thing though. So Cheers. Cheers to you guys. Cheers to, there's 506. There's 506 people in the world that I'm drinking to right now. And you guys are amongst them. So here's to you guys. John Doe Juggalo, my man Jeff, says he loves the slipcover talk. I love slipcover talk too. I'm like, tell my wife, I'm like, you know, get me warmed up, get me in the mood, baby. You know what I mean? Start talking to me about slipcovers. You know, tell me about something lenticular. You know what I mean? I'm gonna like start getting things going, start getting me flowing a little bit. Tell me about them lenticulars. And I like it too. That is something that we do. It's nice to know that other families do that kind of thing too, that other like husbands and wives talk to each other about, like, ooh, you know, like, tell me about that Aero exclusive slipcover, baby. Tell me about that Aero exclusive hard box. Ooh, yeah, you got that, the good, the bad, and the ugly chunky box. Ooh, yeah, tell me about that. You know what I'm saying? It's nice to know that I'm not the only pervert in the world. So here's to you, Jeff, my mans. Your name here just said something that is very true. I wish I could put it up on the screen. I really should have looked that up beforehand. You think you're prepared for something. I went out and bought a new camera. That's why I didn't want to pay $500 to StreamYard again this year, because I was like, screw that. I would rather put that $500 towards a non-potato camera. If you guys have watched my videos prior to like a week ago, they were very potato-like, a lot of digital noise. Potato cameras produce digital noise, and so it was a lot of it was really ugly photography. I was using like a $200 Brio webcam and kicked it to the curb. But I was like, I don't want to pay all this money to StreamYard. I can figure this shit out in OBS. I'm a reasonably smart human being. I mean, I just spilled champagne all over myself like a numbskull, but that doesn't mean I can't figure out how OBS works. And so I got the new camera so that we can enjoy some more like mad buttery visuals in addition to the mad buttery. Do you guys hear this? I'm using my nice mic tonight too, so that things would look and sound mad buttery. But I didn't. I should have taken some time to learn how OBS works so I could actually put the comments up on the screen so that you guys would know what I'm talking about. But oh well, it seems to be working out okay so far. But I did want to say that your name here did make a very good point. He said something that's very true that I believe that we all probably recognize overtly, not even subconsciously in our souls. But he said we need Back to School in 4K, chunky box, shaped like a Kurt Vonnegut novel. That's actually one of my favorite. One of my favorite gags in that movie is of course Thornton Mellon is doing what any good CEO or any good like high-powered businessman does is he delegates. You know, he assembles a team. That's what any good businessman should do, is you assemble a team of people that you trust, that you know, and they produce good work, and that you multiply each other's productivity. And so what Thornton does is he outsources much of his work. He's managing his own work, but of course he's got people underneath him who are doing all the stuff. And he hires experts, right? I mean, of course you're going to hire somebody who's an expert to outsource some of that work to. And he's got a paper on Kurt Vonnegut. So at one point in the film, he hires Kurt Vonnegut. Kurt Vonnegut like shows up at the door, and his son Jason is like, what the fuck? And at any rate, he gets caught cheating. The teacher's pissed. She's like, I know that you didn't write that. And whoever did write that doesn't know the first thing about Kurt Vonnegut. And it's very funny because it was written by Kurt Vonnegut. The one person who ought to know about Kurt Vonnegut is Kurt Vonnegut. So that was one of my favorite kind of like, it took like 5 or 10 minutes for the payoff to that joke, you know, because he just got Kurt Vonnegut to come in and do it. But then like 10 minutes later in the movie, she's like, that person who wrote that paper doesn't know the first thing about Kurt Vonnegut. I would love a 4K Back to School on Criterion. I think Criterion probably won't be the ones to put that out, but you know, they're dabbling in things like House Party these days. If you're telling me that Criterion could put out House Party, and I'm not against Criterion putting, I'm going to buy House Party. Full disclosure, I'm going to buy House Party on 4K from Criterion. Same thing with Pee-wee's Big Adventure. I'm going to buy both of those from Criterion at some point in time. You know, maybe next year, but it's going to happen. If we can get House Party from Criterion on 4K, and they're going to like seriously like slap the Criterion logo on House Party. I believe that the Criterion logo is not too good for back to school. I would definitely take a chunky box from Arrow as well, though. I'll take a 4K from back to school from anybody. I'm really secretly hoping Vinegar Syndrome does more 4Ks, more comedy 4Ks. I thought Dirty Work looked incredible from Vinegar Syndrome. I thought it looked better than it had any right to look. It is not a film that I remembered looking beautiful. It really looked very good, and I was very impressed with all the special features, the booklet and stuff. So, I mean, I'm secretly hoping that Vinegar Syndrome will do some more comedies of the 80s and 90s in the way that they did Dirty Work. I would love to see that happen. So, it's very true. We do need a 4K of Back to School, and I will drink to that. Mozart's Ghost in the Hizzy? What's going on? Thank you. He says that I'm always a good watch, and I do always try to be a good watch. On the serious side of things, I probably have not had the right approach toward this YouTube channel to like try to amass a following in the way that many people, even some of my esteemed colleagues and friends, have large followings, large subscriber bases, and reach a very large audience. I think I've probably shot myself a little bit in the foot. I'm not too shy to, make an edgy joke. I've called myself retarded on videos before. I've said that word. People don't like that one. And, starting my videos with the F word as like the third or fourth word, YouTube says you can do that now, but I still don't think they love that. It's not super advertiser friendly. So, I think I've done things throughout, the course of this channel that maybe have not been in the best interest of building a very large subscriber base and really like getting in good with that algorithm and getting pushed out to, all of the various people that could subscribe. But I've always placed a heavy emphasis on being entertaining. Like I've always wanted my videos. Let's put it this way. I would not say no if YouTube wanted to send me money, but I don't look at this channel. I don't approach what I do here as like a form of income or some future form of income. Like I'm going to make money on YouTube and I'm going to be like Mr. Beast, but maybe not quite as big. And I'm going to make $1 million. And when you and your kid go to shop at Walmart, you're going to see like the Mr. Beast Feastables, but it's going to be like me. And it'll be like Bishop Bullmoose Fistables, or some shit like that. That's just, a big chocolate fist. Although if it's a brown fist, it has to be like that, right? It has to be like one of the, anyway, it's stuff like that gets me in trouble probably. But I've always put an emphasis on being entertaining because more so than making a few pennies per view on a commercial, it always makes me very happy, for real, 100%, no bullshit. It makes me happy in my heart when someone leaves a comment and says like, this video was funny, this thing that you said was hilarious, I spit my beverage out, my Pepsi or whatever, or I accidentally spilled champagne down the front of my glow-in-the-dark Jason shirt that I bought at Walmart 2 days ago, and that to me is like, that's the reward. That's why I will wake up after falling asleep, putting my 6-year-old to bed. I will drag my ass out of bed at 9:30, bleary-eyed. I'll slap myself in the face a few times to wake up. I'll do some jumping jacks to get the blood flowing, punch myself in the crotch a few times if that doesn't work, and I'll get down here and go push go live on the button because, I'm not getting paid for this. My wife is like, what the fuck are you doing again? What are you doing? You going down there to talk to 5 people on the internet? What are you doing? I'm like, hey, if I make a couple of people laugh, that's my reward. So, I do try to be a good watch at the very least. I try to put some effort in to making people laugh. And I have a little bit of like, I don't want to say ego, but I got a little bit of like pride. That's what I'll say. I got like a little pride. So I'm never going to come on here. You know, some channels, they'll just open up an article about Dolby Vision 2 and then just proceed to read an article on a video and publish that. And I always assume that you guys know how to read. I mean, maybe that's thinking a little too much of my audience, you know? Maybe you guys don't know how to read. You're in good company. Anyway, I'm an idiot too. But I always assume that, like, I don't need to read you something because you have eyes. You can read the things. Maybe a couple of us are a little bit illiterate, but if you can read, then you don't need me to read some shit to you that you can read. I try to add value. So if I'm going to talk about Dolby Vision 2, I'm going to, like, actually look it up and do some research and try to draw some conclusions and bring something new to the table. So Kerry Witt's going to get a Sunny D, and I think that's code. I actually think that's code for, he's doing a little bit of the, I think that's what he's trying to tell us in a way that is like YouTube algorithm advertiser friendly. I think Sunny D is his code for, he's doing some illicit drugs, guys. And I support that. I support you, Kerry. Go do some illicit drugs. Bring them back. Mix some vodka in with that Sunny D. Get some gin. Do that. That's always good stuff. Johnny's Boutique Podcast. What's up? What is up? Johnny's Boutique Podcast. I like it. Johnny's Boutique Podcast once drank moonshine that he's pretty confident was distilled in a radiator. Yeah, I love it. That's the thing. I'm from Georgia. I live in Maine now, as you guys may. I've probably said it before. You guys may know, but I'm a huge Georgia fan. I went to University of Georgia. See that? That's my Georgia hat. I'm a huge Georgia Bulldogs fan. I will be watching Georgia Bulldogs tomorrow night. Hopefully this time tomorrow night we'll be kicking Alabama's ass and I'll be really happy. If not, I might be swinging this bottle of champagne. Like, I'll break the bottle and start trying to hit people with the broken glass or something like that. Hopefully it doesn't get that bad. But yeah, being from Georgia, you know, we drank some moonshine sometimes. You'd go to the lake. You know, I don't know what lake you guys like to go to. Johnny's Boutique Podcast. Not sure what lake you like. It depends on where you live. But we would go to, like, Lake Oconee. If you want to go to, like, some nice backwoods, I'm not talking about Lake Lanier. That's too close to, like, Atlanta proper. We go to, like, Lake Oconee or some shit, you know, and you'd open up somebody's freezer in the basement or whatever. They'd have that basement fridge, and that basement fridge was dedicated to alcohol, right? The upstairs fridge had all the food in it, but the downstairs fridge was, like, that's where you'd go to get the beers. And sometimes you'd go down to get a beer, and it'd be, like, midnight, and you'd, like, open up their freezer just to, like, take a little peek, and boom, there's a mason jar full of something. And you knew it was going to be good. So I like that. I definitely cheers to you drinking moonshine. If it doesn't taste like it's been distilled in a radiator, fuck off. I've had these, like, things before where they're like, look, it's a cherry flavored moonshine. I'm like, look, moonshine's supposed to put hair on your chest. It's not supposed to taste like Boone's Farm. Get out of here with this malt beverage that you're masquerading as moonshine because you put it in a mason jar, okay? I'm a man from Georgia. I know what moonshine's supposed to taste like. If it doesn't taste like it was made in a radiator, get out of here with that moonshine. I don't want it. What's the Cary Grant? That's the Cary Grant gif where he's like, get out of here. Get out. Get that moonshine out of here. All right. Okay. Now, I see some people talking about some sake. I am, I don't know, I'm a little bit of a Japanophile. I do like sake. I like the Asian stuff in general, Asian foods, Asian beverages, and I am no stranger to sake. And in fact, I bought some sake. I was at there's this craft beer store I like to go to, and they had a little bit of a wine section, which I usually don't fuck with because I don't drink wine. I don't drink champagne. Tonight, excluded. Don't spray all over me. And I got some sake. And it came in this little, the reason I got it is it was like a little single serve. It had like a little pop top. And it came in this little glass cup with like this cute little puppy on it. And I was like, I'm going to slam this sake, and then I'm going to give the cup to my daughter. It's like this cute glass with a little puppy and some Japanese writing on it. And I was like, that's a good excuse to slam some sake. And that was the last time I've had sake. I'm not a big sake dude, unfortunately. I mean, I don't know. I kind of wish I was, maybe, but yeah, Mozart's Ghost. Kirby's got to improve that record against the Tide. I agree, and I would like to see him improve that record against the Tide tomorrow. I anticipate that highly. Mozart's Ghost going to get some pizza. Enjoy the good games. Tomorrow I'm going to definitely enjoy your pizza, dude. Anybody do anchovies on their pizza? Is there anybody out there who's ever had an anchovy pizza before? I say this because we're all hotly anticipating the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle release that's coming in December. I know I've pre-ordered mine. I hope you guys have all pre-ordered yours. I have a feeling that the limited edition on those is probably going to move pretty quickly. You know, some of the chunky boxes, the Man with No Dollars trilogy moved very, very rapidly. And that sold out very quickly, and a lot of people were upset they weren't able to get The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly in the chunky box. I think the Ninja Turtles is going to move pretty quickly as well. I think it is best, it is prudent, if you want to get a copy, I think it's prudent to pre-order one soon, because that will guarantee that you receive one. But I feel like Ninja Turtles, I am of the generation that grew up with Ninja Turtles, at least from about the time I was, I don't know, first or second grade, third grade maybe. I mean, from about the time that I was like, I don't know, 7, 8-ish. I feel like that was when Ninja Turtles kind of blew up and were in the zeitgeist, and people had the toys and you watched the cartoon, and then, you know, you looked forward to the movies coming out, and 1990, the movie came out. It's like, holy shit. Anyway, that's part of my generation, but I also remember growing up and people were like, ew, anchovies. You'd be like, hey, I'm going to order pizza. And people would be like, don't put anchovies on it. It was like always the butt of the joke in the stupid, you know, television sitcom or whatever. It's like, ooh, anchovies are so gross. And so I grew up in a world where I simply accepted that as truth. I don't know about you guys, but I accepted that anchovies were just disgusting. And I never thought, well, they're a food for a reason. There must be some people out there that like them. And maybe I could be one of those people. Maybe I might like anchovies. I never thought that. I mean, as a child, who's going to take that much time to think about anchovies? You just think like, ew, gross, the Ninja Turtles hate anchovies. They love pizza, but don't put anchovies on it. Or Donatello will stick the end of his bow staff right up your anus if you order anchovies on that thing. Michelangelo is going to break his nunchucks off in your asshole because you put anchovies on that. And then I went out to eat with some friends. I don't know, this is probably 7 or 8 years ago now. We went out to dinner, and we went to this kind of like a fancy, it's like one of these fancy Italian joints. They specialize in pizza. It was like a fancy pizza joint. And I had a Caesar salad when I was there as an appetizer. I like Caesar salad. This one came with anchovies on it. And I had never had an anchovy before. And holy shit, I just looked around the table, was like, fuck me, I like anchovies now. I was lied to my entire life is the point of this story. I accepted the propaganda that anchovies were disgusting without questioning it. And I think that's why you need to question everything. Was 9/11 an inside job? Absolutely yes. Did the CIA conspire possibly with the mafia to kill JFK? You better believe it. I watched the Oliver Stone. I know I talked about it on a video once kind of recently. I hadn't watched the 4K yet. I bought the 4K. I hadn't seen it since film school. I mean, it'd been like 2002 maybe since I had seen JFK, Oliver Stone's JFK. But I talked about it on a video. It was in my 10 that I'm trying to watch. So I did watch it about a week ago-ish. Week and a half ago, I watched JFK. And I'm telling you right now, I couldn't be more convinced. Kevin Costner is right. That's some fishy shit. I looked into it, okay? And if they can get you on anchovies, they can get you on an alphabet agency conspiring to kill the president because he wanted to cut their funding. I believe that. And if it gets me taken down off of YouTube, then you know it's true because they fear the truth. Okay. I don't know how to say this word. H-Fight Christie's dad? I don't know. I don't know if I butchered that or not, but I don't feel embarrassment. So if I did, I'm sorry, but I don't feel embarrassed about it. H-Fight Christie's dad, I think I'm saying that right, likes anchovies, but it's been a while. That's the thing. You can't let it be too long. I don't think anchovies are like a daily, that's not something that you should eat every day, but What I am trying to say is every time I order pizza now, ever since I discovered that I really like anchovies, every time I order pizza, whether it's with my wife or anybody, we're ordering pizza for the fam, whatever, I'm like, yo, do you want to get one with anchovies on it? And everyone's like, ew, no. I'm like, have you ever had anchovies? And everyone's like, well, of course not, but I grew up watching Ninja Turtles, and they said it was gross. And if an anthropomorphic turtle that stands at 6 feet tall and talks English and even breakdances on the back of his turtle shell while wielding nunchucks says that anchovies are gross, I have no choice but to believe the talking turtle. So I say don't believe it. Yeah, so H-Fight Christie's dad, I'm assuming I'm saying that, had all the Turtles toys, and he got rid of them because he thought he had to grow up, and he kind of misses them now. And I don't know who else in here identifies with that, but that makes me a little sad, you know, because I did the same thing, you know, being 13. You got like shithead friends, you're 13, you're 14, you're like, I'm going to go out and smoke pot and skateboard with my shithead friends, and you know, like I don't care about Ninja Turtles anymore because I just want to touch a girl's boobies or something like that. I just want to go out with a girl and touch her boobies and drink a beer behind a Kroger or whatever in the shopping center at 9 o'clock at night. And so, you know, you'll just throw all this childhood stuff to the curb. You'll just donate it, or you'll sell it at a garage sale or whatever. But then you will get to be 35 years old, 40 years old, and you'll say, God damn it, I wish I had all those damn Transformer toys still. Why did I get rid of those? And I just moved, my parents just moved out of their house in Cumming, Georgia, and they left, and all of the stuff in their basement, of course, had to go as well. And so I got some boxes. I'm actually looking at them right now. You can't see them, but they're on the other side of the camera, and I'm looking at some rather large boxes, and I unpacked one the other day, and it was just full. I mean, it was chock full of Star Wars toys. Some of them, there's like a Star Wars backpack with Yoda on it that is absolutely full of like open Star Wars toys that were like very well played with by myself and my brothers. And that feels nice because like my daughters don't know dick about Star Wars. They're 6 and 3. They haven't seen Star Wars. I'm getting them to that point that we're going to watch Star Wars. I told them, I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I told them there's only 3 Star Wars movies. And they're not going to learn about the other 7 Star Wars movies until they move out of this house. And they're going to be, my father lied to me. And at first they're going to feel betrayed. They'll go through that like, I can't believe he didn't tell me about Solo, the Star Wars movie. I can't believe he didn't tell me about the prequel trilogy. I can't believe he didn't tell me about the sequel trilogy. Then they're going to watch The Rise of Skywalker. And one day, I might be long dead by this point, but one day they'll sit down, they'll watch that piece of shit, Rise of Skywalker, and they'll say, you know what? I felt betrayed for years that Daddy told me that there were only 3 Star Wars movies, but you know what? He was trying to protect me from this. He was trying to shield me from this shit. Anyway, they don't know dick about Star Wars yet. They will, but they're playing with the toys, and that's kind of cool. But I also found about 40, maybe 50 unopened Star Wars toys are like still sealed in the box. And I don't know what the fuck to do with those. You guys got to help me out. I don't know if, like, part of me is like, I can't open them now. They've been sealed for 30 years. I cannot open them now. That feels like, I don't know, it feels wrong to open them now. Like children, myself, my 2 younger brothers, we were children at the time, and somehow we exerted enough willpower to keep a few of these things closed. And at the same time, I don't have any use for 40 sealed Star Wars toys. And so I'm like, do I sell them? I guess I sell them. The whole point of keeping them sealed was to maintain some kind of weird value as a collectible. And now I'm thinking, well, I guess I should just dust them off and then put them up on eBay or something and sell them. And then, I don't know. I don't know if I want that money, though. So I don't know what I'm doing with the Star Wars toys. You guys let me know. You know, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with it. But I got a bunch of Star Wars toys. God help me if I catch one of my children opening them Star Wars toys up. I'm going to be like, you little fuck. I come swinging the champagne bottle. I'm like, don't open the Star Wars toys. I can't wait to traumatize them with them Star Wars toys. Jeff, do you agree with me? My man's John Doe Juggalo, do you agree that there's only 3 Star Wars films? Because he says 3 Star Wars. Yup, seems right to me. And yeah, I just don't. If it might just be self-serving. Like when children are young, they're not very discerning. You know, they just want to eat shit food. They just want to eat mac and cheese and chicken nuggets, and they don't want to eat anchovies. They don't want to appreciate the finer things. And so they will watch Blippi for hours on end. Pardon me. They'll watch Blippi. You know, they'll watch YouTube slop, just absolute slop content for hours, days on end if you'd let them. But I worry that at this age, they would come to me and they would say something fucked up that would make me give them up for adoption. Like, I like Jar Jar Binks. Jar Jar Binks is my favorite character. I wish Jar Jar Binks was in more of these movies. You know, they would come to me and they would say something like that, not realizing how badly that would trigger me. And I don't beat my family, guys. I'm a Buddhist, as you guys know. I'm a Catholic Buddhist, as you guys know. I'm against violence, but there are probably a few things. There are a few lines that they could cross that would get me to reconsider not beating them. And the Jar Jar Binks thing is probably one of them. Now, H-Fight Christie's dad says he hasn't watched episode 9. Episode 8 was the end for me. So you saw, it sounds like episode 8, that's the Last Jedi, right? Or the Last of the Jedi, the tail end of the Jedi? I don't know. That's the one where Luke Skywalker meditates to death. I thought that was pretty, yeah, way to go. He meditated to death, you know? Like that deleted scene where Mace Windu died of constipation. Like, I guess it's possible, but it's not very cool. Like, it's a space story about like sci-fi samurai. Like, it's supposed to be badass. Have you ever watched a samurai movie where they die from being constipated or they like meditate to death? Fuck that noise. He meditated to death and there's no convincing me otherwise, but I'm glad that you didn't watch Rise of Skywalker. Rise of Skywalker was the first one that I never saw and I didn't see in the theaters. There was no enthusiasm in me for that. So I wound up watching it shortly after my second daughter was born. My second daughter was born in 2022, early to spring 2022. And, sometime later that summer, I'm just hanging out. I don't know. It was just me and her for some reason. My wife and my older daughter were somewhere, but I'm just like bouncing around. We have like those, the exercise, like the stability balls, the big round and inflatable things that people use to work out. So we got one of those and I'm sitting on it and I'm cradling her. She's like 2 months old, 3 months old, maybe tops. And I'm like bouncing on that thing just that, she likes it. She's like zonked out in my arms anyway. And I'm just like, fuck it. Like I put on Rise of Skywalker. I'm like, so let me see what's so bad about this. It can't be that bad, right? It was really bad. And I just thought, this is terrible. This is really terrible. So John Doe Juggalo enjoys the pod racing in episode 1. That's crazy. Oh, you know what? Okay, Carrie, I'll give you credit for Rogue One. I'll let Rogue One slide in there. We can throw Rogue One in there as a little, I don't know if I'd watch it first. Obviously, chronologically, it occurs before episode 4, but I'm not sure that I would present that first. I don't know if I want to lead with Rogue One or if it's like, let's watch the original trilogy and then let's throw Rogue One in there as like a, this is what it could have been like if they had maintained some semblance of quality. But instead, they just wanted to write shit lines like, somehow Palpatine is back. We don't have to explain it. If one of the characters just says, somehow it happened. H-Fight Christie's dad, I don't see how Solo is passable. I don't understand that point of view. I want to respect it, but I'm not sure I can bring myself to that just yet. I think Darth Maul coming back from the dead after being chopped in half was pretty shitty. I agree with most of the world that Darth Maul was a very cool character. He did badass martial arts, and he looked really intimidating and cool. And I remember seeing The Phantom Menace in theaters, of course, when it was brand new. And when he died at the end, I thought, Well, that was shitty. There's 2 more of these movies coming, and you already killed the coolest looking villain. What are you going to do next? Why would you waste this character? I wanted to see him come back and do more martial arts. He, of course, did Chinese martial arts. The actor, Ray Park, was trained in wushu and in Chinese martial arts, which is, of course, what I practice, too. So I thought, like, this is badass, and then he got chopped in half, and I thought they squandered the character. And I think it's obvious that other people agree that they squandered. I think I thought it first, but I think they must agree that they squandered the character. Otherwise, they wouldn't have brought him back. But I think at this point, you've just got to go with it. Like, you're committed to that bullshit now, because he got chopped in half, and then he fell down the tube into the lava or whatever else. You're going to tell me that he somehow survived that, getting chopped, bisected at the abdomen. Like, I understand he's an alien species, and so maybe his aorta is not like our aorta, but when you get chopped in half at the waist, like at the level of the belly button, your descending aorta has been severed, okay? The blood loss is extremely fast. I could park my Dodge inside somebody's aorta. That's how big that blood vessel is. The amount of blood that flows through that in order to get to and from your legs, sometimes your dick, but definitely your legs and your glutes and all of those large muscle groups, it's a tremendous amount of blood that needs to flow for gas exchange, for nutrients, etc. When you cut that fucking thing open, people die very fast. And I would think it would apply to an anthropomorphic alien as well. I mean, he had 2 legs, he had a torso, he had 2 arms. Despite looking very alien externally, he seemed to be put together like a person. Don't bite that thing. Fuck off, cat. If you're going to bite cables, you can get out of here, okay? Hey, I'm going to throw this bottle of champagne at this cat right about now. Hey, don't chew on that. God, I wish that cat would get electrocuted like Christmas Vacation. I need to make that happen. I might plant a few like live wires around the house. If you're going to start chewing on my shit, man, I just got this camera. You can't chew on that. AVA Pop Culture, my man's Chase is in the house. I do want to say welcome. Thank you, Chase, for showing up. That's my boy right there. Fellow Bulldog fan. Fellow Bulldog. And that's important because we bleed red and black, dog. Yeah, we're going to get to 1K. I don't know about ASAP, but, you know, it'll happen at some point. If we can find 500 people to say yes, we can find 500 more, and we can get to 1,001 way, shape, or form, as long as people keep enjoying it. Shit. And I don't get assassinated by the CIA for saying the kind of things that I've been saying on this particular stream, because I don't think they love it. But yeah, man, H-Fight Christie's dad knows what's up. What other type of kung fu cinema do you enjoy? H-Fight Christie's dad, and that's an open question to anybody. Do you guys like the Chopsaki shit? I know Chase is not a huge fan. Chase, I do hope you enjoy the Iron Angels. I want to hear, when you finally watch the first Iron Angels film, and I know it's an Asian film, I know it's, you know, it's Hong Kong cinema, but I think they borrow enough from the 80s action that was going around, you know, the U.S. and stuff at the time, that I still think you'll enjoy it. It's just batshit crazy enough. I think you'll enjoy it, but I do want to hear what you thought of Iron Angels, because I think that one would be pretty cool. Seb951 is here for the movie Mass Magic. I hate to disappoint you, but you know, I already disappoint my wife. I'm like, hey, baby, you want the movie Mass Magic? She's like, psh, all 20 seconds of it. I am what they call a one-pump chump. I like that because it rhymes. Yeah, movie Mass Magic. We're going to make a third baby. She holds still long enough. Seb951 has never heard of Chase. I think he's being sarcastic, though. It's hard to tell via text, but I do think he's being sarcastic there. Go Dogs. All right, I'm definitely not saying H-Fight Christie's dad. I need to wear my glasses. Is that a O with a line through it? Are you from Scandinavia? Is that Norwegian? I dig it. My last name is Almy. That's a mad Norwegian name. So if you're Scandinavian, I got that Scandinavian blood. I got hair growing off of everything. I'm Mad Norwegian. Dog's going to destroy Bama. I appreciate you, Carrie. I appreciate you saying that. I think that in this case, you're probably right. I normally get a little nervous with games like this just because, you know, even when we're projected to win, even when we're ahead of them in the rankings, I mean, there is a psychological component to playing a team like Alabama, Florida, even when they suck. You know, Florida always has a chance because there's just that the nerves of playing in this big game that's a big rivalry, and you know you don't want to fuck it up, and am I going to fuck it up? And then sometimes you fuck it up. So anyway, I think you have a strong chance of being right. I hope you're right. Desperately hope you're right. But well, we'll see, I guess, right? Carrie Witt likes the Master of the Flying Guillotine. Is there anybody out there that calls it a guillotine? I think sometimes people say guillotine where they say the L's, but I think it's guillotine. Although I must say my French is very poor. Okay, H-Vite Christus Dud. I don't know how to say that name. I need you to record an audio snippet of you saying that and then send it to my studio phone. I'll give you the number so you can send me a quick audio snippet of you saying that word, because now I am embarrassed. Twilight of the Warriors walled in. Makes it sound like there's several Twilight of the Warriors films, but that's the only one, right? I've looked at that one several times. I've like held it in my hands a few times at Bull Moose. And if I ever find it on sale, like used, like if I ever find it for $17 for the 4K, I'm definitely picking that one up. It's got Sammo Hung in it. I do like Sammo Hung. I feel like if your last name is Hung, first of all, you better have a big dick. If you're going to have Hung in your name, even if it's Chinese terminology, you're gonna have to have some pretty big balls. And I also think it's pretty badass if you're Sammo Hung. Oh, Tai Chi Master. Now you're speaking my language. H-Fight Christie's dude. I haven't watched Twilight of the Warriors. I want to. I just haven't pulled the trigger on it yet. But Tai Chi Master has been one of my favorites since 1995-ish. I had a buddy who was Taiwanese. He was 100% Taiwanese. His parents were fresh off the boat. FOB. That's not offensive, right? Is that racist? I feel like that's just really more, they were like first generation. Like they were born in Taiwan. He was the first generation that was born here. I don't think it's insulting or offensive or bigoted of me to recognize that they were fresh off the boat. They probably took a plane, whatever. It's not trying to be insensitive there. But anyway, I had this buddy, and his parents owned a Chinese restaurant. It was such a good restaurant. Damn, I wish they were still open and not in Atlanta. They had some good food. I really loved their Chinese food. At any rate, he introduced me to Tai Chi Master. He had like some old VHS of that shit. He was like, look what I taped off a TV in Taiwan. And I watched Tai Chi Master circa 95 or something like that, maybe 96. And it blew my mind. I was like, holy shit, this is what I'm talking about. And of course, there's a reason why Tai Chi Master is such a great film. It's got Jet Li in it. Awesome. It's also got Michelle Yeoh, who I think has finally gotten her propers in the United States thanks to Everything Everywhere All at Once. But even before that, I think she got some recognition in the United States for her performance in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, because that was popular for a little while here in the United States. But then I think in the interim between Crouching Tiger and Everything Everywhere, there's, I don't know, something like 18 years or something in there that like nobody's really calling Michelle Yeoh up. She's not like showing up on Everyone Loves Raymond. She's not in any, it's like, oh, she's the Kung Fu lady. She could whoop your ass. But like, I don't know if they just didn't have many roles for her or what. I feel like in the 2000s, as the 2000s kind of wore on and we got closer to 2010, some of that, like Jet Li kind of went back to Hong Kong and make some movies over there. Chow Yun-Fat, Jackie Chan, I feel like that wave kind of broke and sort of rolled back in the early 2000s. But it was hot shit in the late 90s. You guys remember who were there. Tai Chi Master also was choreographed, was directed by Yuen Wu-ping, who did the choreography for the Matrix films, the original Matrix trilogy. And he broke into the United States as well, doing fight choreography for movies like the Matrix trilogy. And so that's why Tai Chi Master is so good. The pedigree of the creative people involved in Tai Chi Master is why it's so incredible. And it's wild to think that just a few years later, these guys would be over here making movies in the United States. I don't think we're ever quite as good as Tai Chi Master. At least martial arts wise, I don't think The Matrix quite holds up. It's good, but the fighting is not quite as good as guys like Jet Li, who'd been basically training in wushu their entire life. When you do fight choreography with them in a film, it's going to be like S class, S tier. Stars Lewis Koo too. Okay. Yeah. He's talking about Javi Christus Dud. How'd I do? I'm doing my best. You know. Oh yeah, Kerry's a Buckeye. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. A couple of years ago, Georgia, we beat you guys at like I think we went into overtime or something, and it was one of the playoff games. It was like New Year's Eve or some shit, and everyone went to sleep except for me and my aunt. My favorite aunt stayed up, mostly because she likes drinking beer, and she was like, well, he's staying up watching football, and I can stay up and drink beer if I pretend to watch football with him. And everybody else went to sleep, and we went nuts when we beat you guys, and I feel bad about that because you guys had a great season. We just kind of pulled it out of our ass at the very end, and I feel bad, but we won our second championship that year, so you know I don't feel too bad because you know it felt good getting those back-to-back championships. That was nice. It felt good, man. Feels good, man. Non-PC Ryan Day. Who is Ryan Day? Should I know who that person is? And he's PC? I'm not very PC. I'm like a little bit. I'm PC in that like mid-90s sense. That shit went too far in more recent decades, but you know, I'm PC in the old school sense. Like I'm not out here saying racial slurs to people and using racial epithets and stuff. I'm not out here going too wild, but I'm a little bit like that. I just like being edgy. My camera before definitely had VHS vibes. Yeah, I had to get rid of that one though because it was hurting me a little bit. I think it might have been hurting me like in a quite literal sense in terms of like the algorithm, and obviously YouTube is going to probably want to show off your videos a little bit more if they're a little bit higher quality. So I wanted something that looked a little bit nicer than the potato camera that I was previously using. But you know, I got by on it for a little while, but then I finally was like, you know what? I'm just embarrassed. Like I'm out here hanging out with guys like Chase and my man Brian, Last Movie Standing, two gentlemen that I'm very fond of in my heart. And I'm hanging out with them. And of course, they're both filmmakers. They're very knowledgeable about you know, cameras, and they're going to ensure that their video production looks quite good. And I'm like, dude, I'm over here with the potato hanging out with these guys. Like I feel like the Make-A-Wish kid or something, or I'm like what's the organization? Like they're the Shriners raising money for the retarded kids, and I'm the retarded kid. And I'm just like, I got my potato $200 webcam. Shit, if I could sell that thing for $5 today, I would. I got to say, this is growing on me, guys. Guys, this is growing on me. But yeah, so it had a very VHS vibe, but it also felt kind of amateur, and I was like, you know what? I'm better than that. Like I said earlier, I have my pride. So, you know, I didn't want to be showing up to live streams with the two of these gentlemen, and their video is looking crispy, and my shit is looking like a Pop-Tart or some shit. Like when my daughters eat the Eggo waffles frozen. Sometimes my daughters are a little bit savage, and they'll ask for a waffle. And I'm like, all right, I'll make a waffle for you for your breakfast. You want me to toast it? They're like, no, give it that shit to me frozen, Dad. And I'm like, you being for real? You fucking with me? No, give me that shit frozen. Okay, you know, like you're the one eating it. Here you go. I'll give you frozen waffle. And then I find it like an hour later, half eaten. And it's like this droopy, soggy, kind of sad waffle. That was my video until I got the new camera. And I just felt bad. Like I was going to hop on. Chase was going to invite me to do a stream. And then I was going to hop on his stream and just like, you know, because my potato camera. So anyway, Ryan Day's the Buckeye coach. Okay. Now So I didn't know who Ryan Day is. I don't follow the Buckeyes, regrettably. So, Kerry with his favorite list of martial arts films lists Ong Bak first. Now, Ong Bak, that is a phenomenal film. I got in trouble with some of my friends about 20 years ago or so. Kung Fu friends, friends who are doing Chinese martial arts with me. And, of course, we all watched Kung Fu movies. And I do remember when Ong Bak first hit. That was an incredible film. I think I can make a very strong case for Ong Bak. Tony Jaa was a lot like Jackie Chan in that he was performing feats of athleticism on camera. They were not assisted by CGI. They were not assisted by cranes or wires or anything like that. Like Yuen Woo-ping, I mentioned Yuen Woo-ping earlier, Tai Chi Master, The Matrix. There was some assistance using CGI for these cranes and wires for helping these people fly around and do this shit. Tony Jaa was just, he came from that Jackie Chan school of like, I'm going to do it all for real, catch this shit on the camera, and even if I break my leg, we're going to have a damn entertaining movie. Ong Bak, I just remember thinking that Ong Bak was possibly one of the finest martial arts films ever produced, simply for the athletic spectacle alone. Some of the shit that he pulls off, like putting elbows down on people's heads and shit like that. I remember thinking Ong Bak. I actually taught my children that Ong Bak, I actually told them that Ong Bak is when you hit somebody on the head, the top of the head with your elbow. And so they believe that to this day. They're not familiar with the Ong Bak movie, but that's a great one. Ong Bak is amazing. I never saw Ong Bak 3. I remember part 2 kind of let me down a little bit, but eventually they're going to put that trilogy out on Blu-ray or maybe even 4K, and I'll grab that. Five Deadly Venoms is a classic. Iron Monkey. You mean the Iron Monkey with Donnie Yen in it, right? That came out, I want to say, very early 2000s, 01. I think it came out over here. Iron Monkey. I think that's the one. Drunken Master. Which Drunken Master? Are you talking about the Jackie Chan Drunken Master from like 1977? Or are you talking about the one that they released over here? I think Warner Brothers put it out in, I don't know, 97, 98 over here. And then Jackie Chan was a little bit older. And he played Wong Fei Hung, which is an interesting role for Jackie Chan. And that one was really good. The Drunken Kung Fu in that one. End of the Dragon, classic, obviously. 36 Chambers of Shaolin. I like to call that one Shaolin Master Killer. I know 36 Chambers of Shaolin is also known as Shaolin Master Killer. And it feels very Wu-Tang of me to call it Shaolin Master Killer. But 36 Chambers of Shaolin, that's a great one too with Gordon Liu. That's a classic. I've got that one on, I think I've got that one on DVD still. Obviously, I'd like to upgrade that. So, yeah, good list. Kerry, very solid list of martial arts films. You've got some newer ones, some classics, some newer classics, but you don't have any bullshit in that list. So that's excellent. Oh, shit. The H. Voot Christie's dude. Okay, Rurouni Kenshin live action films. I want to express a big enthusiasm for those as well. I'm not a Rurouni Kenshin guy, right? I'm a little bit like, I like a little bit of anime. I like a little bit of manga. I mostly like the stuff that I liked in the 90s. I'm eventually going to do a video where I talk a little bit more about anime. I do like anime. Hypothetically, I feel like there's a lot of anime that's lame and cringy. I'm sorry. There's a little bit of anime that is like just ridiculously sick. And so I think people have a hard time with anime because if they don't get the shit that's like ridiculously sick, then they're just kind of like, why am I watching this stupid cartoon about these kids that are like dying after World War II or something? Like, why? I watched a movie and the little girl dies and the little boy dies and now I want to kill myself. I think if you watch the right anime, it's just like sick. And I was never a Rurouni Kenshin guy until Netflix put the live actions out. And then I don't know what I was doing one night. I was like, let me just pop this one on. And I watched the prequel one. I don't know if you're familiar. I hope you're familiar with the prequel one. It's the one where, like before, when he was the Hitokiri Batosai, when he was like really into waxing motherfuckers. And that is what he does for 2 hours. Like, he starts the movie kidnapped. He's tied up with his hands tied behind his back in a room full of 30 dudes. And he manages to kill every last motherfucking one of them. It is a very good movie. I have to say, I went back and I watched the original trilogy. I didn't like those quite as much as the beginning or whatever they call the prequel. But the prequel where he's like killing mofos left and right, and you're just like, dude, this guy just fucks everybody he sees. Every single person that he crosses paths with. It's like you can't hold a candle to this dude, and he's gonna chop you up if he feels like it. That movie is so damn good. I actually sat my brother. My brother came to visit like a month later. He came up from Atlanta to visit me up here in Maine, and I sat him down. I was like, "You're watching this movie before you go to bed tonight. I don't care if I have to sit on your chest like we're 8 and 10 again. You're watching this damn movie." And I remember him being like, "Fuck, that movie was good." Anyway, Rurouni Kenshin, don't sleep on the live action out there, guys, is what I'm trying to say. Sooner GM, what up, dog? Felt like a Super 8 with a Vaseline lens. Sounds like a good time. Oh, Carrie, you were at the national championship when you guys won? Holy shit, that's a dream. I would have loved to have been at that national championship when the Bulldogs won their first one in 40 years or whatever. How is the Tiger Cage trilogy with Donnie Yen? I think I started to watch the first one, and I haven't seen them yet. I don't think I got very far. But it's been in my Amazon cart for like the last year and a half. The Tiger Cage trilogy. You got to let me know how that is. John Woo's Red Cliff is another one that I've never seen before. H-Vite Christus dude. I'm doing my best. I'm probably offending everybody. Like, there's a bunch of Scandinavian, Swedish, Norwegian motherfuckers that are watching this now, and they're like, he's just making fun of us, isn't he? A piece of shit. Pray for Death feels a lot like Commando. Okay. I could check out Pray for Death if it feels a lot like Commando. I do like Commando. I saw that film on TNT or some other TBS maybe, and I don't know, circa 1990-ish, 1991. I mean, I was a young man. I was a very young, I must have been 9, 10 years old. I couldn't have been older than 11 when I first saw Commando. Of course, edited on television, but you know, that one sticks with you. I remember watching that one. I think the first time I ever saw it unedited was actually after the DVD came out. You know, because I had the VHS, I had taped it from television, but it was just it was the edited version. They don't show the guy's head. And the first time watching the DVD, when he throws the buzzsaw and it hits the guy and it like lops the top part of his skull, his cranium, like shaves his cranium off. I just remember thinking like, holy shit, I would have liked this movie so much more when I was 9 or 10, although I did love that movie. It's hard to imagine how I could have loved Commando more, but I think maybe I could have. H-Fight Christie's Dodd, yeah, you need to see 36 Chambers. You need to get on that. 36 Chambers is pretty cool. It's a good one. It's got that 70s flavor for martial arts films. It's one of those kung fu films of the 70s, a product of its time. It feels very much like that, but it's pretty cool, I guess pretty standard story. The guy, he's kind of a privileged dude. You can imagine some Western remake of this thing. He would be like some white guy, white boy with like rich parents, upper middle class, real like, Tom Cruise in Risky Business type of like kind of pampered, spoiled, rich kid. And then, his family gets wasted. He gets beat the shit out of. He winds up escaping. He somehow manages to limp his ass to the Shaolin Temple where he hides out and, of course, proceeds to learn Kung Fu. But because there's an emphasis on the Buddhist, which is kind of nice. Like, a lot of these Kung Fu movies that focus on Shaolin, it's this temple where you go learn it's like the Navy SEALs training school of like medieval China. And they don't often, or they don't always emphasize like the Buddhist teachings that were happening there. And of course, Buddhist teachings being distinctly nonviolent, by the time he like graduates to Shaolin Temple and becomes a Shaolin master many, many years later, he's also a trained Buddhist. So he's all like, yo, I'm not out here trying to get revenge or trying to do any of that shit. Like I'm trying to, walk that noble path and try to stay along the Buddhist teachings of nonviolence and such and compassion for other living beings and shit. And they just finally fuck with him enough that he's like, you know what, fuck it. All right, I'm going to push pause on on being Buddhist for about a day and a half. I'm going to be fucking Muslim and go jihad on your ass. And that's exactly what he does. He's just like, you know what? Fine. All right. I tried to be the Buddhist guy who just, compassion. I'm going to let you live. And I'm going to go teach some Buddhism, some shit. Now you're going to make me break my kung fu foot off in your ass. So 36 Chambers is definitely pretty awesome. H-Fight Christie's dude dabbled in the Kenshin anime back in the day. I don't even know if I dabbled in the anime. I'm not against it. I know a lot of people these days, the author, the guy who created the Kenshin manga and the characters and stuff like that, he apparently he got convicted of some things with some minors, I think. It was, I don't know if it was assault, but it was, so maybe he had some very sensitive imagery on his laptop that might have been, he was doing like the Jared from Subway thing, apparently. But so a lot of people are like, I can't read his work. I can't buy stuff by him because it's going to support him. And they don't want to support him being that, he's guilty of what he's guilty of. So, but those movies are just, they're so cool that it's, I'm sorry he did what he did. That's too bad, but those movies are just sick. That first one, it's not the first one they made. It's like the last one they made, I think. And they went back and they did that prequel where he's like the still Kiribatosa, and he's just, dude, he's got the forward facing blade in that one because he's wasting everybody in that movie. I don't think anybody in that movie dies of natural causes. Don't nobody die of a heart attack. Some old man is dying of a heart attack in the next town over. He gets on a horse real quick, rides out there, lops the dude's head off, and rides back home. He's like, ain't nobody dying of natural causes in a Kenshin film. I'm going to get you. Shokasugi, Chase brings up Shokasugi, and that's some like vintage 80s ninja shit. Ninjas were the rage in the 80s. If you remember, I mean, they had like half the G.I. Joe characters were ninjas, and of course, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I think they rode that wave of fascination with ninjas in the 80s. Ninjas, of course, had the martial arts prowess that is often very cool in entertainment. You can see them doing all the martial arts and fighting each other. But then they also had that like additional air of mystery around them. Like a ninja would appear and then disappear. They'd throw that little thing on the ground and like poof, and then they'd be gone, And like you say ninja vanish for a reason, right? Like the way they would just disappear. And so like I think, yeah, everybody back then, we all had boners for ninjas back then. And I think it's cool. I think it's awesome that Kino Lorber's bringing out that the trilogy. What is like Enter the Ninja 1, 2, and 3. They snaked that 4K away from Shout Factory, and normally I don't like that kind of thing. But in this case, I'm glad that they did because I want that box set. I really dislike it. It sort of messes with my OCD when you've got Scream Factory putting out Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3 on 4K. Where's Sleepaway Camp 1 on 4K? Surely, if the rights for the 4K remained with Scream would have put out all three of them. Why would you release part 2 and 3 on 4K and not part 1? That makes zero sense. So I can only conclude that someone else has the 4K rights for part 1, and they're not concerned with the release dates of the Scream Factory 4Ks. The reason that's annoying is that, you're going to get Sleepaway Camp in some chunky box from Arrow, maybe. Maybe it doesn't come in a chunky box, but Arrow puts out Sleepaway Camp 1, and I got Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3 from Scream Factory, and now they can't go next to each other on the shelf. I got this trilogy that's split up. And Kino Lorber's also putting out the Pink Panther films and the Abbott and Costello Meet the Monsters films. So there's another 2 series of films that I'm very enthusiastic about getting the 4Ks for, but they're not going together in a box, which is a little bit upsetting because it means Kino Lorber's going to want $35 per 4K. You're going to have to buy them separately, and that's a little annoying. I would prefer that they came in a box set like the Enter the Ninja trilogy is doing, but we're going to get all 3 Enter the Ninja trilogy films on 4K from Kino Lorber, which is great. I'm going to get rid of the Blu-rays I got back there. I'm going to cop that 4K box, and they're all going to be in this nice slipcase together as Jesus intended. because I do think they should be together. And stuff like the Sleepaway Camp films is broken up. It's terrible. Ninja 3, the Domination, is a very sick. Like, that's where they go full bore 80s on that one. Your Name Here. I agree with you. That one is the one where they're just like, what are we even doing here? Lots of cocaine. That's what we're doing here. Let's make another one of these ninja movies. Let's make it good this time. Yeah, so that box set is going to be fire. I agree with Chase. That one is going to be best shower scenes from the 80s. Oh, man, I'm not sure if I've even seen them all. I think maybe the best shower scenes from the 80s are all in the Friday the 13th franchise. That one chick gets, that? I think she was done with her shower by the time Jason kills her. She's like wearing her towel and he throws the axe at her. I think that was part 4. I believe that was part 4. Had some very tasteless nudity in it, which doesn't make sense, but it does make sense. Oh, Seb 951, the new Blu-ray for Megazone 23. I almost got that one. Do you have the box set? You know, the one that it's like the limited edition? And if so, tell me how it is. Is it like nice? Is it like a nice rigid slip box or what? Because I dig that. I got Don Dodon right here. This showed up yesterday. Don Dodon. I showed up yesterday. Sorry about the light. The light sucks. I apologize. Don Dodon. I'm using this thing as a webcam right now, so I'm not able to leverage its exceptional low light shooting. But anyway, Don Dodon. I got the special edition. You know, you could get the regular kind of basic bitch version. I paid an extra. This was only $36 on Amazon. They had like a deal, so I pulled the trigger on it. I have not watched all of these yet, but is it like this? Is the Megazone 23 like this, where it's got like a slipcase and a book and stuff? Because I got very close to ordering that one, and I might still. So you got to let me know how that one is. I never did watch Star Blazers, Carrie. I never did watch Star Blazers. I would if they put them out on Blu-ray. I would check them out because I did love me some Robotech. I'm a Robotech guy, and I know there's at least one other Robotech guy out there. I don't know if you're in the chat tonight, but there's one other Robotech guy out there. I know it. I feel it. I've talked to him before, I think. And I watched Robotech when I was a kid, like before I realized what, Japanimation was. And we call it Japanimation in this house, people. We definitely call it Japanimation around here. And Robotech was cool, man. They were like out in space and, even with the Zentradi, the 60 feet tall dudes trying to squish everybody, Rick Hunter was still trying to get with that bitch Min-May. Man, it's a shame. She was just such a ditzy broad. It's really too bad that she was trying to get with her fucking cousin. Who does that? Yuck. I'm hoping he was like a second or third cousin, but I get the vibe that he was very much a first cousin. You know what I'm saying? That's yucky. Please. Don't fuck your family, people. Cousins are off limits. And I know I'm from Georgia, but cousins are off limits. Oh, yeah, Chase. I do not like that Second Sight has Pearl and Maxine, but not X. And that is going to prevent me from buying those. I will almost certainly not buy those because I don't want to have, like, here's the Second Sight Pearl. Here's the Second Sight Maxine, but I don't have the one that goes in between those two. And, it's enough to just turn me off. It kills the boner entirely. And then I got to put on a ninja movie, Ninja 3, The Domination. Dress to Kill. That's a good one. You mean, is that in response to the shower scenes, the best shower scenes, Carrie? I haven't even seen Pearl or Maxine yet, though, so I got to get on that a little bit. People talk about them, and I'm always like, I play along. I'm like, just nod and smile on my potato camera. Slumber Party Massacre. Yeah. Invisible Maniac I have not seen, but I do want to. Got to get my hands on that. Rock and Roll Nightmare. Great shower scene. And credits of Body Double. Oh, yeah, Body Double has some very nice nudity in it. Melanie Griffith before she got all old. Anyway, yeah. Gatchaman, Carrie's a Gatchaman guy. I'm definitely not a Gatchaman guy either. Seb951 just got all 3 volumes of Robotech Blu-rays. Dog. I knew there was another Robotech guy in here. Yeah, I got the box set. I just waited long enough. It's like a big box. It's like a big square box. It's over there. I would show it to you. I'd have to get up and I'll wind up like bumping the microphone in the camera trying to get it. But it's like the giant box, and it's got other shit in it. It's got like a toy in it, I think. It's got one of these like Veritech fighters, and I can almost reach. I got an old one from the 80s somewhere. Oh, I thought it was nearby, but it's over there next to my RoboCop action figure that I also found in that bag I was mentioning earlier full of Star Wars toys. I found a RoboCop action figure, and I was like, hell yeah. Putting him up over there. I found a little die-cast DeLorean. I was like finding some 80s movie shit in with the Star Wars toys that I apparently used to play with when I was a kid. And I was like, shit, yeah, I'm taking RoboCop and putting him over here. And I got a Veritech. I don't know where the hell I put that Veritech, but it's like one of the ones that transforms and shit. And it's from like 1987. And it's pretty sick. But yeah, so I got those for like $20. I got the box set for like $20 or something. It was just on like clearance, you know, deep discount clearance from Crunchyroll. And I was like, shit, yeah, it's like it's all 3 seasons, every episode on Blu-ray, plus whatever else is in the collector's box for like $20. So I pulled the trigger on that and was very pleased with that. I haven't watched Robotech in many, many years, though. I have on DVD, AD Vision released the Macross portion, you know, the original Macross television series, you know, outside of Robotech. The Japanese version, basically. And I bought that many, many years ago on DVD. And I watched that, I don't know, it's probably been at least 15 years since I watched that, too. So I got to get back on that. At some point, I'll watch Robotech, and maybe I'll see if my kids want to sit down and watch Robotech. I don't know if it's going to be right for my girls or not, but maybe if they do Star Wars, then I can, like, slide them sideways to Robotech and just be like, yo, don't worry about those Star Wars sequel trilogy. We'll just watch Robotech instead because it's much better. It is much better. Yeah, Macross Saga is awesome. I don't mind Volume 2 and 3. I don't mind Southern Cross or the Invid, mostly because I was a little kid when I watched them and I was dumb. Scuba Steve, 100% Japanimation. That's what we call it. We call it Japanimation in this household. Somebody tries to call it anime, and I'm like, what are you, learning Japanese? Get out of here. Some kind of weeb in this household. I don't raise no weebs. We don't say anime. We say Japanimation with a thick American accent. Okay. H-Fight Christus Dodd. I don't know how many more times I'm going to have to say that, but I'm going to keep saying it. Ninja Scroll, Wicked City, Vampire Hunter D, Ghost in the Shell, Perfect Blue, Princess Mononoke, Akira. Those, I mean, I think he just listed off like kind of top 10. But Ninja Scroll, I got to recommend Ninja Scroll. I mean, everybody sees Princess Mononoke, Akira. They're both kind of, Akira is pretty R-rated, okay? The dude getting shot up when they like open the machine gun up on the dude as he's like laying there in the street and it's showing his body getting riddled with bullets. Yes, that is an R-rated film, Akira. But Ninja Scroll, out of all of those, and Wicked City is pretty like, whoa. Like, whoa. I remember watching Ninja Scroll, I was probably around 1995, and that movie, man, that movie is sick. I think in the video that I eventually am going to do on anime, I will probably wind up making some anime recommendations for people who are not like big anime people, because I'm not a big anime dude. I just had the benefit of having watched anime when I was younger and more of a nerd. And so I would probably make some recommendations, like if you like gratuitous violence and nudity in like cheesy 80s movies, like if you like B-movie 80s horror that has like gratuitous nudity and gratuitous violence and gore, then I'm going to recommend Ninja Scroll to you. Because even though it's not like an 80s slasher movie, it's not set in the 80s, it's set in medieval Japan, it has the things that we like. It has gratuitous nudity. It has extra gratuitous violence and gore, and it's just badass. Ninja Scroll is badass. They released a steelbook, a Blu-ray steelbook about a year ago, and that bitch was selling out left and right. That one, I'm very lucky I managed to get that. I secured a pre-order for that. But everybody was like, Amazon's canceling these because they didn't produce enough. And everyone's pissed. So many people were saying their pre-order got canceled. And mine, they rescheduled, like, well, it's not here yet, so we don't have a shipping date. And they kept pushing it and pushing it. I thought Amazon was going to send me an email saying we canceled your pre-order. But one day that motherfucker showed up in my mailbox. I got the Ninja Scroll Blu-ray Steelbook, and I popped that bad boy in. I was like, this is every bit as sick as it was when I was in 8th grade. This shit is awesome. I definitely recommend Ninja Scroll to people who are like thinking about dibbling and dabbling in a little bit of anime. Akira I would also recommend, just because it's been Akira I would recommend more for its like influence on other cyberpunk genre, dystopian future, sci-fi genre films. I think Akira was big enough that filmmakers making movies over the last 20 years certainly would use Akira as a reference. You know, it's something that would inform whatever it is that they're making later on down the line. So I would recommend Akira as well. I got the 4K Steelbook of Akira recently, and I watched that shortly after I got it. I don't know, 6 months ago or so. And I hadn't watched Akira probably since 94 or 95. I was pretty blown away again at how incredible the animation was. It looked very, very good. And I just remember thinking, holy shit. Like, I can't believe I've been sleeping on Akira for like the last almost 25 years or whatever, 30 years. Because that movie is fucking good. I highly recommend Akira as well. That one's pretty cool. Where are any of the Ghibli 4Ks? Seb951, if you know where any of them are, The Boy and the Heron, I think, is the only 4K of any of the Ghibli movies. I have all of the steelbooks that Shout Factory released under the G Kids banner. I have all of the Miyazaki, Studio Ghibli, not just Miyazaki, the ones that were directed by others too. I have all of the Ghibli steelbooks, and I believe the only one that is 4K is The Boy and the Heron. That's the more recent one. I haven't watched that one yet either. So somebody, no spoilers, but somebody tell me if The Boy and the Heron is good. Black Rain needs a 4K. Your name here. You are very correct, sir. Black Rain needs a 4K. Old, what's his funk getting his head lopped off? What's his name? Andy Garcia, right? That's the one. He gets his head lopped off, and Michael Douglas has to watch. Do you guys think Michael Douglas looked kind of fat and bloofy in that movie too? I don't know if he was on like mad corticosteroids or if he was just doing like a lot of testosterone at that time and he didn't have anything to kind of dry him out, because that's the way it looked. He didn't look, I mean, it looked maybe like he was kind of dirty bulking a little bit. It looked like he was on testosterone. He wasn't doing anything for the water. He wasn't doing any equipoise or trembolone to try to keep that like lean kind of gaunt. So he just looked bloofy. He looked like testosterone bloofy with like a little bit of like a dirty bulk in Black Rain. And I remember watching that movie just thinking like, damn, like was he kind of dirty bulking during this? Because it looks a little bloofy. Like he looks like he had a little muscle underneath, but just like his face kind of looked a little puffy and squishy a little bit. He didn't look like the Michael Douglas. Like Michael Douglas he's a good looking dude. He's always been a good looking dude. The guy got throat cancer from eating pussy, for Christ's sake. He's a legend. But he definitely looked a little bit, I don't know, just kind of a little bit chunky in that movie. That was unfortunate. Yeah, Wicked City was wild. I want to throw this out there for those of you guys out there who have watched some anime and maybe dibbled and dabbled in some of the forbidden fruit. Have you guys seen La Blue Girl? Has anybody seen La Blue Girl? Is that just me? Because sometimes I do like to joke about La Blue Girl on my channel as if other people know what it is or what I'm talking about. Google it if you hadn't, but you want to talk about tentacles, that's what reminded me. La Blue Girl, that is the forbidden fruit. I often like to joke that because of La Blue Girl, like we should have dropped a third nuke on Japan. We really should have, because you watch La Blue Girl and you're like, God damn it, we should have dropped a third nuke on these motherfuckers. It is what it is. Your name here watches Speed Racer, Astro Boy, and Marine Boy. I think that's cool. I've never seen. I mean, I've seen a little bit of Speed Racer. What did you think about the live action Speed Racer, the one that the Wachowski brothers did? Obviously, they were influenced by anime as well when they made The Matrix. So I think there's enough reason, from at least from a film history standpoint, that somebody who likes movies, you want to be at least familiar with the core canon of anime films, such as Akira. I'd throw Princess Mononoke in there. What are some other the big ones? I don't know that. I mean, Ninja Scroll is very enjoyable, but I don't know that that's one of the core canon films of anime. But there are some Vampire Hunter D, that I think if it had enough of an influence, that they enough of an influence on something like Kill Bill. You guys remember Kill Bill Volume 1 has a whole animated sequence that is very much done in that style as homage to anime. So I think there's just been enough of an influence on films like Kill Bill, The Matrix, and stuff like that. But let me know what you think about the Wachowskis' live-action Speed Racer, because I never watched it. I was afraid, and I was afraid that it wasn't going to be good, and that was going to leave a bad taste in my mouth, much like this warm champagne. This champagne got warm quick, but I got to say, it's not bad. It's still growing on me, guys. I'm probably going to feel really good tomorrow morning, because there's nothing like drinking a bottle of champagne from the bottle to make you just feel great when you get up. That sun hits you, and you're going to, it's a bright, beautiful day. I'm so glad I drank a bottle of champagne on a live stream last night. But look, it's not every day that you become a world-famous YouTuber with 500 subscribers like me, okay? And so, I got to party like a rock star once in a while. Frank is in the hizzy. I would like to say Frank's Movies and Fuck Room is in the hizzies. First, he plays the movies. Then, he slays your booty. It's Frank. Movies and Fuck Room. Frank, welcome. How you doing, buddy? I miss you. I miss your touch. I miss you holding me when it's late at night and dark outside. R.I.P. Terrence Stamp. Yeah, I heard Limey was good. I heard somebody was telling me I need to pick that up because they got the Steelbook. They found the warehouse. That Lionsgate Limited pulled a Vinegar Syndrome, was like, hey, we unpacked the box and we found a whole bunch of movies that had previously been sold out but are not now, and so you can buy them if you want. And Limey was one of them. And so I thought about buying Limey because I heard good things, Douglas in Black Rain was a different human compared to, say, Romancing the Stone. I like Romancing the Stone. I mean, I'm about no shame in my game. I don't care how gay it sounds. I like Romancing the Stone. I don't mind. I'm a romantic comedy kind of dude, and Romancing the Stone is a good movie. It's got Danny DeVito in it. It's just a good movie. Oh my God, your name here. You're out here. You out here like, I only watch Speed Racer and Astro Boy. Only Osamu Tezuka for me. That's the only anime I watch. I've got La Blue Girl on DVD. I'm fapping to that shit tonight. You just did a 180, my man. I thought your name here, I thought, oh, he's like a real gourmet dude. Like he's into the 70s anime shit. I mean, he's got his pinky out when he's drinking champagne straight from the bottle. This man has La Blue Girl on DVD. The only thing sicker than having La Blue Girl on DVD is having La Blue Girl on VHS, you know what I'm saying? Because that's how I watched it back in 1996. We had it on VHS, and I just thought, this cartoon has so much. And the thing about cartoon porn is they can get so much more wild than regular porn, because anything you can draw, like I've never seen a regular porn that shows a cross-section of the inside of the girl as the demon dick is going in and out, because usually you can't see the inside of the woman in like a real live action porn. You can see her outside. Sometimes they'll use like a speculum and they'll really like open her up. I've seen a few like that, but you don't really get like a good cross section. Like, let me get like Superman's like X-ray vision while this lady's getting railed. But but La Blue Girl gave it to us, and I gotta say I've never been the same since then. And my wife is like, "Why do you always turn this on during sex?" That is weird. Whatever. Sooner GM, my friend, I have the Berserk 1997 series. I bought the Blu-ray Steelbook set. Are you seeing a trend here? I bought the Blu-ray Steelbook set when it was like they were like one and done. We're only going to do one pressing of Berserk on Steelbook. That's it. Otherwise, you're going to have to buy the regular version with the slipcase or whatever. And I said, dude, I got to order this. I haven't watched it yet, though, so I have not seen the 1997 series. I do have the Steelbook. It's right over there. It's looking at me now because I've mentioned its name a few times, so it kind of stuck his head up, and he's looking at me now, making eye contact uncomfortably. But yeah, I have it. I haven't seen it yet. I've heard nothing but good things. I have the first volume, you know, those fat, Dark Horse put out like this fat hardcover series of the manga, and I have the first one because I found it at Walmart. And I'm going to eventually read that. I'll eventually watch that. I'm behind on all that. It's very tough. I just bought the City Hunter Omnibus in English. City Hunter's back in English for the first time in, I don't know, 20 plus years. Let's see if I can dig it out of my little pile over here. And a little pile of shit right here on my table. About to dislocate my shoulder and knock something over. Oh, don't knock over that champagne. I would embarrass myself. So I got the City Hunter Omnibus. Gutsoon put City Hunter out in English like, I don't know, 20-ish years ago, somewhere like 2003, 2004, maybe a little bit more than 20 years ago. Gutsoon Entertainment, but they didn't put out the whole series because they folded. They went out of business. They put out the first like 4 volumes or 5 volumes. This is the first 3 volumes in one right here. And I got to say, I'm not a big anime or manga guy, even though we've just spent like the last 45 minutes talking about anime and manga. I swear. But City Hunters, it's an 80s ass manga. It's an 80s ass anime. Discotek put out the anime. Of course, I've got all the Discotek Blu-rays over there. I love the anime. I love the way he makes fun of that chick for being a tomboy, basically. And he basically just like the comedy is based around him essentially misgendering his partner for the entirety of the thing. So like people nowadays watch this like, oh my God, City Hunter's the worst. And I was actually kind of surprised that anybody would take another crack at putting the manga out in English, because it is kind of like forbidden these days. It's like one of those things where, yeah, it was funny back in the 80s, but it's kind of like the Porky's thing where it's like, it's not cool anymore. It's not kosher anymore to, have sex with a woman when she's passed out drunk. That's not cool anymore, guys. That was cool in the 70s when they made Animal House. It's not cool anymore. And people even look back on those older movies with some disdain. They're like, how could you ever have made this? How could you ever have enjoyed this? And that's sometimes a topic of conversation with Chase and I, actually, is that it's unfortunate that some of these things like forbidden now. You can't make movies like that, but you really shouldn't even enjoy them. Like, you really shouldn't even own them. I will say that there is a copy of the Revenge of the Nerds Blu-ray that I want to get at Bull Moose. They have it used, and it's like $8, and I want to get it, but I'm actually kind of afraid to buy it there because it's a very, like, Bull Moose is a very, I don't think I'm saying anything controversial to say. They're kind of, they're lefty type of folks, right? It is what it is. I'm not offended. I'm not upset by it. But I am worried that they would judge me. I'm a regular there. They know me. And I'm worried that they would like me less if they had to ring up Revenge of the Nerds because I bought it. So I need to get it somewhere else because I'm just worried that I'll ruin my reputation of Bull Moose for buying Revenge of the Nerds. That's the way it's kind of judged in today's day and age. And I think City Hunter kind of falls into that category. I mean, the main character, Ryo, he routinely touches people that do not ask to be touched. It's one of those things where, people watch it under a modern lens and like, holy shit, I can't believe this guy's putting his hands on women like that. He's touching their butts. He's fondling them. That's not cool at all. That's assault. That's assault, brother. And yeah, it's true. You probably get the cops called on you these days, but it's played for humor. So I've read people online who are judging City Hunter very poorly for that kind of brand of humor. And he misgenders his female assistant. You know, he makes fun of her for being a dude all the time. She's like, I'm not a dude. So he basically misgenders her pretty routinely throughout the series, but it makes me laugh. What can I say? I am an adolescent at heart in my sense of humor, and it makes me laugh when he like misgenders her out of nowhere, and he's like, yo, you're a dude, and like deadpan just calls her a guy, and it's and she gets all pissed off. It's very funny stuff. Ha, Chase, I'll tell him I'm buying Revenge of the Nerds for you. It's still bad. It's like telling them I voted for Donald Trump for you. You know what I mean? It's like they're gonna say, even if you did it for, even if you're doing it for Chase, you're still in trouble, buddy, because you did the bad thing. You bought the bad movie. I'm like, I swear I voted for Taylor Swift. I wrote in a vote for Taylor Swift because Kanye was running, and I thought I'd vote for Kanye, but then I thought it'd be even funnier if I wrote in a vote for Taylor Swift. So don't get mad at me, people. Anyway, yeah, I did. I actually read Death Note. I didn't watch the anime Death Note, but I did read the manga back in the day. I don't know, circa 2008 or something like that. 07, 08, I read the manga for Death Note, and that one's good. Jewel of the Nile, yeah, I like Jewel of the Nile as well. The subpar sequel to Romancing the Stone, I don't care. I like Jewel of the Nile. And if somebody wants to put out a set, if Arrow wants to put out a chunky box set of Romancing the Stone and Jewel of the Nile on 4K together, like the Conan films that they did, I would absolutely buy a Romancing the Stone 4K chunky box set with Jewel of the Nile. I absolutely would pre-order that. Day one. I like those movies. I don't care. Romancing is a Zemeckis movie? Yeah. Yeah. I think it's kind of an unpopular opinion, but I think Robert Zemeckis is, I almost said vastly, overrated. I think he's a little overrated. Obviously, I think he did Back to the Future, and I think classic, right? You know, Orson Welles did Citizen Kane. We all know that. Orson Welles also voiced Unicron in Transformers the movie in 1986, just before he passed away. You know, I'm not saying bad things about Transformers, but to go from Citizen Kane to Transformers is kind of fucking wild, if you ask me. And so it is to say that, you know, even the legends have to shit at some point, right? Even a legend like Orson Welles produces poop. And I think that's Zemeckis. And it goes the opposite direction, too. I mean, I think, you know, Back to the Future, undoubtedly a classic. Castaway, overrated. I probably should be doing this in a video, but I'm probably taking some of the steam out of one overrated movies rant video, but that's how I feel about that. I'm sorry. I feel bad saying it, but I did it. I think I only saw Nerds 2, Booger and Love. That's not the subtitle for Revenge of the Nerds 2, is it? I feel bad for what's-his-face, the guy who played Booger, Curtis Armstrong. He got wicked typecast, you know, in that kind of role. The sort of nerdy, kind of yucky best friend. I mean, he did that all through the 80s. And he's not a young man either. I want to say he was like pushing 30 when he made Risky Business in 83. Of course, he was the kind of high school best friend in Risky Business, nerdy kind of, but not a disgusting human being, but still, you know, not a beautiful man either. He was the best buddy in Better Off Dead when he says, I can't even get real drugs in this town. That is actually my favorite joke of the whole movie. And it comes from Curtis Armstrong. He's holding the bottle of whipped cream. He's like, I can't even get real drugs here. You know, obviously he's going to go home and do some whippets. And I really love the implication of him buying like 30 bottles of whipped cream and complaining that he can't get real drugs. I love that joke. He was also in One Crazy Summer, which came out in the later 80s, I think 87, 88, something like that. So, I mean, like, obviously Curtis Armstrong. And then it ended, right? The 80s were over, and it's like, we don't need this sort of nerdy, sort of gross best friend character anymore. Plus, you're 57, so you've aged out of this role, my friend, and that's too bad because I like Curtis Armstrong. You know, just it's what happened. Used Cars is a classic. I Want to Hold Your Hand. Yeah, I mean, I'll grant you. Earlier, Robert Zemeckis is probably better, but Polar Express. Are you going to tell me that Polar Express is worth a used condom that you found in the park next to where a homeless guy was sleeping? Because I'm telling you, man, Polar Express, no. I don't even think the book is that great, but the book is okay. I read the book to my daughters at Christmas time, so eventually I will rewatch the Polar Express, the film, but not with any enthusiasm. It's going to be a very unenthusiastic rewatching. I just feel like last couple of decades, I wanted to love Castaway too. I mean, when Castaway came out, it was like, holy shit, it's the dudes who made Forrest Gump. They're back at it again. It was like the Beatles getting back together. You know what I'm saying? It was hotly anticipated, but I don't even think Forrest Gump is that good. I think I've said before, Forrest Gump is fairly overrated. Just Cadillac Man is great. Yeah, Cadillac Man is great. John Doe Juggalo. Nerds in Paradise. That's what I thought it was. Your name here. Booger in Love. I think they need to do like a direct-to-video. Because you think if you gave Curtis Armstrong a call, I think Chase could pick up the phone and call Curtis Armstrong tomorrow and be like, yo, we need your permission to use that like Star Wars technology to de-age your ass. We're going to de-age you like we did with Luke and with Grand Moff Tarkin. We're going to make like a CGI version of you using your face and shit. You can come in and play the role, but we're going to CGI you and make you look like you're 22 again. And we're going to come in, we're going to make Revenge of the Nerds 7 Booger in Love. I think Curtis Armstrong would say yes instantly. I don't think you'd even have to twist his arm or back. I think Curtis Armstrong would say, fuck yes, I want a booger paycheck. He would say yes to that, I believe. And so we need to get on that. 1941 is the most underrated Spielberg movie, says your name here. I think I might agree with you. I don't think there's a lot that Spielberg has done that is underrated. I think Spielberg veers a bit more towards the, oh my God, plug your ears, Chase. I think Spielberg veers a little bit more towards the overrated. Just because like people have been sucking that man's dick since Raiders of the Lost Ark and E.T. So I mean, he's spent the last 40 plus years just basically getting big upped every time he goes to a coffee shop. Every time he enters the room, people are like, oh my God, it's the living legend. Here he is. And I mean, if you leave a comment on one of my videos saying, I chuckled mildly at one brief moment in this video, then I'm closing my laptop and I'm walking up to my wife and be like, they think I'm fucking hilarious. I am the greatest. I mean, imagine telling me I'm awesome like they told Spielberg for 40 years. You spend 40 years just blowing that smoke right up my anus. I would be it's probably amazing that Spielberg is, still like a cool human being, because I wouldn't be. I would let that shit go right to my head. 100%. I promise you that. I am not a very good Buddhist. I would definitely let that go right to my head. Curtis was still doing Nerds movies in his 40s. Yeah, I believe that. I think he was 40 when the first one came out. He's ridiculously, like, I think he was born in like 1958 or something. You guys feel free to fact check me on that one. But I do believe that Curtis Armstrong was born in the 1950s, which means when he's making movies in the 1980s, I mean, he's like about 30-ish as he's making all of these movies. So Booger in Love was a TV movie. Okay. I think we need a Revenge of the Nerds. I worry that no one wants to. Same thing I thought about City Hunter, though, so I could be wrong. I thought City Hunter will never get another English adaptation, the manga, because it'll never sell. There's just way too much. Like, we're woke now. We don't touch women. We don't touch a woman's boob and then laugh about it. I'm surprised they haven't canceled Billy Madison. They put Billy Madison out on 4K, and he touches that girl's boob without her permission. And even if he retroactively gets her permission, I mean, that's still considered assault at that time, because he did not receive consent prior to touching her her breast. And that there's a lot of that in City Hunter. And I never thought City Hunter would come out, but it did. And so who knows? Maybe somebody brave will put out a Revenge of the Nerds 4K. And I hope they do, and I hope they do the whole series, even the TV movies. I remember there was one where I think it was like 1994. It was like Revenge of the Nerds 4 or something. And they're like cool now. He's like, they're old enough. They're like, tech guys, and they've got enough money that even though they're still kind of nerds, they're like cool nerds. And I remember that being like part of the plot, is that they're not nerds anymore, right? Because they got money or whatever, which is of course what happens. Like, you're a nerd when you're 17 or 19 or whatever, but like you're 35 and you've got money, and like all the single moms are like, I wish I had paid more attention to you when you were like a geeky dude and awkward in high school. Shane Black is underrated. I wonder about that statement, your name here. I wonder about Chase just blocked Jason from everything. Yeah, I told him to plug his ears. I hope he did. And I didn't say Steven Spielberg was overrated, but I said he kind of, if you've got underrated on one side and overrated on the other side, you've got a spectrum of ratedness, under to over. He's definitely he's not in the middle. He's definitely on that over. He's in that side of the bell curve, towards that overrated side of the spectrum. Because Steven Spielberg is definitely not underrated. You could make an argument that he's rated, like he is as great as people say. Therefore, he's not overrated, but he's certainly not underrated. People have been saying he's great since, the late 70s. And he's done, look, he's done so much. He's done so much. I don't know. I like being edgy on the internet, so. H-Fight Christus Dude says, how do you mix hard-boiled film noir, slapstick comedy, live action with cartoons, a subplot about alcoholism, realistic murders, penis jokes, Disney and Warner, and make it work? Roger Rabbit is how. Yeah. And Roger Rabbit has a 4K. Did it get a steelbook? I don't remember. I don't have it. So 1953, you're saying 1953. Is that the year that are you trying to tell me, Carrie, that 1953 is the year that Curtis Armstrong was born? Is that what you're saying to me? Because that's even earlier than I thought. That's about 5 or 6 years earlier than I thought. I thought he was born at like the tail end of the 50s. Is that for real? Jason is dead to me now. Oh, womp womp. Oh, I drank too much champagne and I talked shit about Spielberg. Oh, man. My channel is done, guys. You guys didn't know. This is my 500 subs celebration live stream. This is also my retirement live stream. I'm hanging it up. It's not going to get better than this. This is the high water mark, people. It's me celebrating 500 subs. And it only took me 8.5 years to get to 500 subs, too. So, keep that in mind while drinking a bottle of champagne straight from the bottle. This is warm champagne now at this point. Is my beer warm? I think my beer is still semi-cold, but I'm going to put that back in the fridge because I don't want to drink that warm. This is the Oktoberfest. See that? That's the Sierra Nevada Oktoberfest. And I do like a Marzen-style beer. I like the Oktoberfest. And I remember thinking the Sierra Nevada was like my favorite Oktoberfest last year. And I had one, I had one this week. And I remember thinking it's not as good as I remember. Who knows? Maybe it was better last year. Last Boy Scout. I would love a 4K of Last Boy Scout. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is an all-timer. I do like that one a lot. Everybody likes The Nice Guys. I think that's a great movie. I recently rewatched The Nice Guys, but I gotta say I don't know that Shane Black is underrated because he also did that Predator movie, right? Didn't he do one of the Predators? He was in the first Predator, but he wrote and directed one of the recent ones. And I heard H-Fight Christie's daughter saying it wasn't great. I didn't see it. I heard it wasn't great. And I also kind of like Shane Black, so I didn't really want to if this is not his best work, then maybe I won't watch it so it doesn't poison the well. You know what I mean? Because then I get on here and I start talking mad shit about Shane Black, and I got even more people unsubscribing. I should check to see if my subscriber count went down. Definitely went down by 1 when Chase unsubscribed and blocked me. The Nice Guys is a good movie. I do think The Nice Guys. I think maybe it did get some love when Second Sight put out the 4K. I think people were rediscovering it at that time, but it was kind of amazing that The Nice Guys came out. There wasn't a lot said about it, and then it just kind of went away again. And it's a really, really enjoyable film, and yeah, not a lot of people have been talking about that over the last decade or so. Not as many as they should. Yeah, Shane Black co-wrote The Monster Squad. I will also give him credit for that. The Monster Squad is a classic. I wonder, I showed that to my wife last year. I think it was her first time seeing it. She and I watched The Monster Squad right around Halloween, about a year ago. It was last October, and she had never seen it. And I was like, whoa, okay. All right. You got to see this. This is a classic. And sometimes I'll show her movies that I watched when I was a lad and that I love. And she'll just be like, what was so special about that? I do think she liked Monster Squad, though. I think she especially liked the cute relationship between the younger sister and Frankenstein, of course. You know, now that she's a mom, I think that type of thing kind of gets her, kind of pulls her in a little bit more. She's like, oh, Frankenstein's being nice to the little girl who reminds me of our daughters a little bit. So I do think she liked Monster Squad, though. So that I was going to say that, you know, sometimes you'll show somebody something like Monster Squad, and if they're seeing it for the first time as an adult in their 30s or 40s, then they'll watch Monster Squad and just be like, okay, like, why were you nutting your pants over that movie? Like, it was all right, I guess, but, and you know, you kind of want to strangle the person when they say something like that to you, because you grew up watching Monster Squad. You watched Monster Squad when you were 10 years old. That shit is special to you. How dare that motherfucker try to tell you Monster Squad is like a 3-star movie. Like, get out of here. Like, we're going to fight over that in the front yard right now. I don't care if I am sober. We're fighting outside barefoot over that type of shit. But I think the Monster Squad does. I think it does get love these days, but it deservedly so. And I'll give Shane Black credit for that. I think Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, I watched, I think it's been a solid like 10 or 15 years since I've seen that one. I need to rewatch Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. He does like putting his movies around Christmas time, doesn't he? Shane Black. I mean, not Monster Squad. Obviously, he wasn't able, it's going to be a hard sell to do monsters right around Christmas. You kind of have to set that in the fall around Halloween time. But yeah, I think a lot of his other movies, Iron Man 3, wasn't that released in like June or July? And of course he lands, you know, Iron Man lands in the, when he flies off, whatever, he lands in the whatever before he meets the kid, and it's like snow and shit everywhere. And that's always weird to watch in July when you like go to see a movie. You're like, shit, yeah, it's summertime. They're gonna release a new Iron Man movie, and you're like, all right, it's set on Christmas, and I'm watching the shit in July, and like he's walking through the snow, and it's 95 degrees in Georgia outside. I never liked that. Yes, 4K and a great LGBTQ film. Which one's are you saying Kiss Kiss Bang Bang because Val Kilmer plays a gay dude in that one? Is a great LGBTQ film. I need to rewatch that one. I remember Val Kilmer plays a gay dude, but I don't remember, other than that, it being like especially notable for like LGBTQ. Yeah, I don't remember it being especially notable for like other aspects of that. But you know, maybe everyone has a dud. Play Dirty is set during Christmas too. Yeah, he does a lot of like Christmas set films. I don't know what his deal is. Is Shane Black, is he Jewish? I would assume, but obviously I'm also a bad person that's about to get removed from YouTube for assuming that a filmmaker is Jewish. That was terrible. Why did I just say that out loud? And why am I still talking about it now? But if Shane Black, I think that adds an extra layer that I actually think I kind of like. If he's Jewish and he sets all his movies right around Christmas, I don't know why, but I think that's kind of fun. So, you know, it's all good in the hood. Oh, yeah, Val Kilmer plays the most nonchalant, deadpan gay character ever, yeah. I think that's how it's supposed to be, though, right? Like, I don't know. A lot of the 90s stuff, the 80s stuff too. Like they put a gay character in, and you know, it's something, you know, it's Robin Williams doing The Birdcage, like flamboyantly with Nathan Lane, two straight dudes basically playing gay. And it's very rare that it's like they're just kind of normal. You know, it's just like a normal character. It's not like, oh, this is the gay character, so we've got to like really play it up. We've got to like make him so super gay that it's very obvious to anybody. Even people who have never heard of gay people before are going to know that this character is gay. I feel like there was a lot of that in movies. And it might have even been like self-congratulatory a little bit. Like, look how gay Jeremy Piven is in the Rush Hour movies. And it's like, we've got a gay character, or it's for comedy. Like the Jeremy Piven gay characters, clearly for comedy. But, you know, I mean, like when you have gay friends in real life, it's like you're just like people. It's not like a flamboyantly like, although I have a few gay friends who are actually kind of like that too, like very flamboyantly. There was another gay, you know, Wet Hot American Summer has the gay romance between Bradley Cooper, who does kind of act a little bit more gay in that film, and Ian Michael Black, and both of those are heterosexual actors, and like just it's a good gay romance in my opinion. It's like the only kind of like kind of like emotionally mature romance in that whole film is like the gay one. And it does actually lead to that funny gag where they're like, we got to get McKinley laid, and it cuts to him totally boofing Bradley Cooper in the ball shed, which is not a very subtle sight gag, but also, as I've said before, I'm kind of an adolescent with my sense of humor. So as he's balls deep in Bradley Cooper and the soccer balls start like dropping and rolling across the floor, it's like, oh yeah, balls, obviously, balls. Yeah, these dudes have balls out. The balls are probably touching. And you guys know the first rule of shit happens when you party naked is it ain't gay unless the balls touch. But the balls are definitely touching, I think, at that point. Okay, Carrie Witt has never seen Monster Squad. Is there, how do you block or ban a subscriber? How do you do that? Until you've seen Monster Squad, please go sit in the corner. I can't believe you've never seen Monster Squad. Look, it's almost October. You're in for a treat. Please watch Monster Squad and report back. That is wild. Maverick needs a 4K. Long Kiss Goodnight is peak Gina. Yeah, Long Kiss Goodnight is peak Gina Davis. I remember, hey, I'm old enough to remember when Gina Davis was hot. People used to think that. I don't think people really think that anymore, but oh wow, Monster Squad was decent. You're hitting me with a like, it was okay. It was all right. Rewatch it. Watch it over and over again until you love it. That's what we did, and it worked for us. We watched that movie over and over again on TV, on VHS from the rental place. So I think sometimes it's just a matter of like force it, make it happen, make it work. Just keep watching and watching and watching. Oh yeah, Your Name Here does think that Shane Black is Jewish, which makes it even more interesting if Shane Black is Jewish, which is fine. I love the Jewish people, right? I think I'm obligated to say that on a YouTube live stream. I do. I think it's even more interesting then that he's kind of fixated on Christmas as a temporal setting for his films to set them all around Christmas. Because it's very Christmas. It's not like I'm going to make a movie and set it at Hanukkah, which also happens to be near Christmas, so you could have some like Christmas visuals, right? You could have Christmas decorations out if you've got a movie that's taking place during Hanukkah and it's like December the 17th. Yeah, Christmas decorations are going to be up also, so you could still have them in your compositions and your mise en scène. You could have the Christmas lights and such, but it makes it even more interesting. It does feel like me making all of my movies set around Hanukkah, right? Because I'm not Jewish, but it would be like me making every one of my movies. It's like all my characters are celebrating Hanukkah, and they're leaving the Hanukkah party, and the Hanukkah's going on in the background, and you know, wouldn't people be like, dude, why are you setting all your movies at Hanukkah? You're Catholic, bro. I kind of feel like people would eventually, they'd be like, what are you doing? Is this like a joke to you? Or are you trying to make a mockery of the Jewish people? And I'd have to be like, no, of course I'm not. I just really respect Hanukkah. It's just really funny. I don't know. But then, it works. It works. My childhood would not exist without Monster Squad, says Jeff, John Doe Juggalo. That may be true. I think a lot of us had better childhoods than we would have without Monster Squad. I definitely think it improved our childhoods, and I feel sorry for the people who were born a generation earlier than us. Imagine, like, your parents, my parents, they were adults by the time Monster Squad came out, and they weren't able to connect with it and enjoy it. I don't think my parents have ever even seen Monster Squad. I'd be surprised if they had. Oh, that's too bad. Wong Kar-wai made Happy Together. That's another amazing LGBTQ film. I've never seen Happy Together. At some point, I'm going to get the Wong Kar-wai box set from Criterion, at which point in time I will undoubtedly watch Happy Together. That's the one with Leslie Chung, right? And he plays a gay dude in a relationship with another dude, obviously. So he's not in a relationship with a chick in Happy Together. But it's Leslie Chung, right? And that was while he was alive. I think he's passed, hasn't he? Am I remembering correctly? I have almost finished this entire bottle. Yeah, I have that bottle is gone of champagne. So if I'm misremembering anything, I'm going to just blame the celebratory bottle of champagne that I just drank while all of you people watched. Let's see. Earth Girls Are Easy is not a good film. Yeah, I mean, it's not a good film. I mean, I think a lot of the films that we love aren't necessarily good movies in a classical sense, and there's a reason why Criterion didn't put out Earth Girls Are Easy, but you know, it's enjoyable if you like it. That's what I'm saying. It's oh, White Christmas was directed by a Jewish man. Yeah, and this song, what's it called? The Irving Berlin, who wrote the damn song White Christmas, he's Jewish. Irving Berlin is Jewish. So, you know, I suppose if you want to think about it, you know, if you really, really look at it, we do have the Jews to thank for Christmas, right? Because, like, Jesus, I mean, it's his day, and he was Jewish. So, I mean, at the end of it, in a very real and literal way, we can thank the Jews for Christmas. So maybe it's appropriate that a Jewish man wrote the song White Christmas and a Jewish man directed the movie White Christmas. And, you know, maybe it is appropriate that that Jewish folks should continue to contribute towards Christmas traditions. I like Chinese food on Christmas. I don't really do it that much, but I just like Chinese food. So I don't need much of an excuse. If you say, hey, it's Christmas and China Walk is open, do you want to order some? I would say, shit, yeah, throw me in for some General Tso. I'm down for some General Tso always. The only good gay movie is The Jackal with Bruce Willis. I can't believe I read that one out loud. There's a reason why YouTube doesn't show my channel to anyone. I'm dumb enough to say stuff like that. 4K Tent Revival, my man Brad, thank you for that one. I haven't seen The Jackal since the 90s with Bruce Willis. In what way is that gay? I don't remember. I haven't seen it in 28 years, probably. I watched it at the time with a girl I was trying to bang, too, so, like, I don't know that I paid a ton of attention because I had my mind in other places, specifically below the waist. So I was like, I'm not here for Bruce Willis. So, but I did see Jack Black get his whole arm blown off. That's the movie where Jack Black's, like, holding the pack of cigarettes out and Bruce Willis just blows his whole damn arm off. I think I'm remembering that correctly. But there's been a lot of drugs and alcohol in the years interceding. And, yeah. E.G. Daily and Valley Girl. Thank you, your name here. I love E.G. Daily. She's underrated. You want to talk about underrated, and you want to argue about, you know, is Robert Zemeckis underrated? Absolutely not. E.G. Daily, Elizabeth Daily, like, underrated, vastly underrated, and it almost seems like you're fucking with me. I don't understand why E.G. Daily, like, it seems like the world is fucking with me. That's what I mean. The world is, it's like a psyop. Like, everybody knows about her. No one's saying anything. Everybody blasts secretly. Everybody blasts One Way Love and listens to that song all the time, every time they're listening to 80s music. And everybody has just decided to fuck specifically with me by pretending they've never heard of the song and they've never heard of E.G. Daily, even though they've seen 10 movies with her in them. They're just like, what? She's the girl in Pee-wee. She's the girl that wants to date Pee-wee. She's the girl that wants to date Paul Rubin's ass. And yeah, she's in that movie too. So I feel like E.G. Daily is one that needs way more credit than she has received. Oh, Carrie rewatched Krull for the first time in a decade. It does not hold up. Oh man, I haven't seen Krull in a long time. I'm sorry to hear that, because I definitely have the 4K Steelbook in my cart on Amazon, and I'm just waiting to pull the trigger. It's going to happen at some point. Like, that thing's going to drop down to like $28 on Amazon, and I'm going to be like, bink, done. I'm sorry to hear that it doesn't hold up, because I'm looking forward to it. Oh man. League of Their Own. Was Gina Davis hot in A League of Her Own? Seb 951. I think you watch too much La Blue Girl, man. I think your whole calibration is off. Was Gina Davis hot in A League of Their Own? I don't know. Those baseball outfits did not do it for me. I don't even think Madonna was very good looking in that movie, and you know, she was kind of a hoe at that point. Yeah, Leslie Chung was in Happy Together. Leslie Chung, R.I.P. Leslie. It is unfortunate because he was a talented guy. Man, I'm sorry. So, Bruce Willis's character is gay in The Jackal. Okay. All right. I did not know that. Now I do. I didn't remember that, at least, but I hope that my excuse for not remembering that is acceptable to you fine people, because, yeah, that's my excuse. I had no idea, but I had my mind on other things that day when we were watching The Jackal. I was going to put this back in the fridge, but I'm not now. And it's even warmer than it was 10 minutes ago. You know, the Germans drink their beer warm. They don't drink it like warm, like tea. They drink it like room temperature, or like slightly colder than room temperature. And apparently that is how you appreciate the nuanced flavors more. If it's cold, you don't taste it as much. So that's what I'm going to go with here. I'm cultured, and therefore I am enjoying this beer in the European style, and that is why I set it out for 2 hours right next to me, so it could get just over or just under room temperature, just a little bit cooler room temperature. So Brad and Your Name Here, my man, 4K Tent Revival and Your Name Here are going to arm wrestle over which Jackal film is better, Jackal remake or Day of the Jackal. 80s E.G. Daily or Gina Davis? I'm going E.G. Daily, 100%. I mean, she's like lived inside my skull since 1994 or 1995 when I first watched Better Off Dead. I have loved that damn song, her scene. I mean, I don't think that E.G. Daily is necessarily like hot, like in the sense that like another 80s star like Phoebe Cates. It's like, that's like a hot 80s movie star, right? She's like very attractive. That's how they built Paradise and especially Fast Times. You know, they built it around, this is a desirable actress. She's a very attractive actress. And, you know, you have that in some 80s films, undoubtedly. Bo Derek, shit like that. They built a whole movie around, like, this girl is a model, she's hot, and we're going to build a movie around that premise. And so I don't necessarily think that E.G. Daily fits into that. But I will say that New Year's dance scene in Better Off Dead resonated with me from a young age, early on. I like it. I love that song. That song's an absolute banger. I do tell my daughters, I say, I'd be better off dead than to live without you. Like, I'll just drop lines from that song. They got no idea I'm quoting an Elizabeth Daily song, but one day they will. But yeah, definitely I'm going with E.G. Daily. Sorry, Gina Davis. I got The Long Kiss Goodnight, and I will be, because it is kind of set around Christmas. I bought it when Arrow released it a couple of months ago, and I don't know, it was like May when I got that movie, and I was like, I can't watch this for like 7 months. I got to wait. Like, I want to look at the 4K. I want to peep the 4K, but I'm going to wait. Same thing with Better Off Dead. Like, I watched the first 20 minutes of Better Off Dead, but it's a Christmas movie or like a, you know, December, January film, and I couldn't bring myself to do it. I'm very OCD about when to watch movies. I can't watch a Christmas movie in August when Better Off Dead dropped. And so Long Kiss Goodnight, I'm waiting about 2.5 more months. I'll check out Long Kiss Goodnight like post Thanksgiving, maybe even like Black Friday weekend, Thanksgiving weekend. I might check it out then because I am looking forward to checking out the 4K. I want to see how that 4K of Long Kiss Goodnight looks. But yeah, I think I will take E.G. Daily over Gina Davis, even at both peak. You know, the peak for both of them. I'm taking E.G. Daily. I've been canceled for my gay ignorance. I mean, look, they're gonna cancel me for something. There's a long line of things to cancel me for. I'm not a particularly. I just say shit. I just stuff comes out of my mouth like an idiot. Like I put my foot in my mouth. It's my superpower. And so it's not even that I'm like trying to be a dick or I'm like particularly. I just say dumb shit. Okay, you know, boom. They're gonna cancel me. Bro, you don't need to cancel a YouTube channel with 500 subs, right? They're just like, this idiot's just sitting in the corner. No one's listening to him anyway. We don't need to cancel him. If I had 25,000 subs, like my man's Chase, then, you know, they might have to come after me. But I don't think we have to worry about that, guys. Not anytime soon. Phoebe Cates is Jewish, yeah. Wonderful. I actually think that there is a... what is the film Goodfellas? I'm quoting Joe Pesci. Okay, these are not my words, but he calls them Jew broads. The Jew broad. Can you believe the Jew broad? This day and age, Jew broad doesn't trust an Italian. She says she don't want to go out with me because I'm Italian. She doesn't trust Italian guys. I need you to go with me. I'm trying to get laid, for Christ's sake. I do a lot of things for you, don't I? Anyway, that Joe Pesci in Goodfellas, when he goes off on Ray Liotta about he's dating a Jewish girl, and he keeps calling her this Jew bro. You know, I'm trying to get laid over here. I'm trying to. Can you believe in this day and age, she doesn't trust an Italian? She doesn't want to be out alone with an Italian, a Jew bro in this day and age. Like, he keeps coming back to the fact that she's Jewish, and like for some reason she's Jewish. The fact that she doesn't trust an Italian is just that much more insulting to him. I just love that scene. He just goes on and on about, I'm trying to get laid with this girl here. You know, do me a favor. I do a lot of favors for you. I love that scene. And, yeah, I think there's just something there, right? Like, that explains a lot about Phoebe Cates and why I find her attractive. Because in my life, I have found many Jewish women to be very attractive. Jennifer Beals. Maybe not quite as much as Phoebe Cates, but there you go. I don't know. I'm not a big Dirty Dancing guy. I don't own Dirty Dancing. It's like going to be the last 80s movie I ever buy. I'm going to own every 80s movie on 4K before I buy Dirty Dancing. You know, it is what it is. German beers. There you go. And yours is nicely room temperature. Where are you? Are you in Europe right now? Are you watching me at like 5 a.m. because you're over there in Scandinavia? Or you just brought the Europe with you to the United States? So we both being... we're being very continental. I told you I'm Norwegian. My name is Almy. That's a mad Norwegian name. So, you know what? I think I like you. H-Fight Christus Dud. I don't know how to say your name. I just wish it was like Paul or something. That would be a lot easier for me to deal with. Orally, verbally. I don't know. That sounded bad. But I like you. I like your style. I like your taste in things, beers and movies, and I think you're all right. You're pretty cool. You can crash on my couch anytime you need to. We need 10 and 4K. Yeah, I mentioned Bo Derek, right? That's the movie that they kind of built around the idea that she's like a supermodel. What are we going to do? We got like a really hot actress that we want to make a movie with. So, okay, let's make a movie about how hot she is. We'll call it 10 because she's a 10, and, you know, that's what it is. Charlotte Lewis from The Golden Child or Nia Peoples? Ooh. Real Sophie's choice. I have not seen The Golden Child in a very long time. I do not yet own the VSU. I must admit, with Vinegar Syndrome releases, I watch them like a hawk, and then I buy them when they get low or they go on sale. That's my thing with Vinegar Syndrome, because if you wait long enough, they will eventually be 50% off. And I like that. I like that a lot. I like saving money because then I can buy more movies if I save money. And so if a movie's clearly not going to make it, like Iron Angels was just not going to make it. So I pulled the trigger on Iron Angels because I knew it was not going to make a sale, the limited edition at least. And so I don't have the VSU of The Golden Child because there's still greater than 2,000 copies left. And I would much rather wait another 6 or 7 months to buy it, like next spring at their halfway to Black Friday sale. It'll be on sale 50% off, and I'll pull the trigger then. So I don't know. I might have to look at some pictures, side by side. I'm going to go with Nia Peoples on that one just because I need to refamiliarize myself with Charlotte Lewis. Watch the standoff at Sparrow Creek. Okay, so let me ask you this, Brad. I was going to watch it before mid-November. Should I wait to watch the standoff at Sparrow Creek in mid-November? And if so, then I will watch it at the appropriate time. But I was going to watch it sooner than that, just to kind of give you a feedback on that film and tell you what I thought. Because, H-Fight Christie's Dud is in Canada. That's cool. Canada's cool. You know what's cool about Canada? And I've always thought this since I was a teenager. You can touch the strippers up there, Down here, it's like one of those things. Like, she can grind on your lap. If you pay her to, she will, grind on your lap until your pants are stained. But you can't, you probably shouldn't even breathe on her. You could get your ass kicked by fucking around. And in Canada, they're just like, whatever. This is how I make my living. If you want to touch my boobs, touch my boobs. I love it. I dig it very much. So, yeah, Canada. Cool. Poutine. Poutine is from Canada. I like it. Sorry, my wife is texting me. She's looking for her phone charger. She must have woke up. She's like, I need to find my phone charger. My husband took my phone. I did it. I'm guilty. I took your phone charger, baby. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm going to call him Matt. H-Fight Christie's Dud. That's the last time I'm going to say that uncomfortably. I'm just going to call you Matt from here on out. This one's for you guys. This one's for everybody here in the chat. Chase, Jeff, Frank's Movies and Fuck Room. Everybody. Brad, shit, thanks for giving me that slight push I needed 24 hours ago and saying, fuck yeah, do it. I did it. I'm here. Figured out how OBS works. I still can't show the comments, but I'll Google that shit tomorrow, I'm sure. I think, Jeff, you're right. Being frugal with Vinegar Syndrome I think being frugal in general is best for your overall collection. I mean, I like buying limited editions. I do not like buying standard editions. That being said, if you can get a limited edition, a box set, if you can buy them used, if you can buy them pre-owned at a Bull Moose or in a Facebook group or something, you can save, and if you wait for sales, you can save an average of $10 to $15 per title. And like I said, if you buy a title per week and you save $10, the low end, per week, 52 weeks a year, times 10, you've saved $520. If it's 15, then, you've saved 550 plus another 50 times another half. I mean, you're saving, $750 or so per year by buying films either in a sale or gently used, not buying them new. And that's money. That's another $500 or more that you could put towards more 4K Blu-rays. Yeah, that's awesome. I want to have more money to spend. I want to be able to make whatever my Blu-ray budget is go further. It's just a sensible way to be, and it maximizes how many sick lenticular slipcovers you can add to your collection. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Groot, what up, Groot? Hey, welcome to the Patreon, Groot. I'm sending you a card, okay? You're gonna get a card in the mail from me, assuming that you left your address on the Patreon. And if you didn't, I'm gonna send you a message being like, "Yo, give me something, a PO box, give me your mom's address, something where I can send, because I have a nice card that I'm gonna send you. That's how I roll, and some stickers too, because that's just what I do." But Groot, hey, welcome to the chat. You a real motherfucker. That's what I'm saying. My man's Matt was born in British Columbia. Oh, Seb951, what are you doing to me? You going to watch Better Off Dead 4K right now? Are you going to watch Better Off Dead 4K in September? I know it's the tail end of September. We're getting close to October, but come on. For real? Are you messing with me? You're messing with me, aren't you? You're trying to see what my blood pressure will do. Joke's on you. I had my blood pressure pill today, and I've had enough beer that I don't give a shit. I'm a bottle of champagne deep. Oh, there's a little bit left. I don't care if you watch Better Off. You're not going to get to me watching Better Off Dead 4K in September. It's definitely not kosher. I would say you probably don't need to confess that as like a sin, but it's definitely not the right time of year for Better Off Dead. Seb 951. I don't know what you're doing. You don't like Halloween movies? I mean, it's almost October, and there's about 500 Halloween movies that are great to watch during the month of October. That's crazy. That's crazy. Yes, Brad, I do have a sickness when it comes to watching a movie during the stated time of year. If they give you a date when they show like the titles and they say, December the 23rd or whatever, to me that's pretty serious. Like they're telling me it's December 23rd. Why would they need me to have that information as the viewer, right? Like how is that information germane to me as a viewer? Because if it's just a movie, I mean, there's plenty of movies. The Searchers. That's one that I've watched very recently, and it takes place over the course of years. So it's not really set on one particular day. You could watch The Searchers really any time. There are winter scenes in The Searchers. There are summer scenes in The Searchers. It's like I mentioned Goodfellas a moment ago. Goodfellas takes place over the course of years as well. And I'm finally ditching my hat. I just have to because my head is getting hot. There's a Christmas scene in Goodfellas. I will still watch Goodfellas in June or May or whenever just because it spans so much time. But I do think that when a movie's like this film is taking place on September 27th, I wouldn't watch that. I wouldn't watch that in May just because I'm a crazy person. Jeff, we're supposed to have a budget. I just buy. Yeah, I mean, it do be like that sometimes, unfortunately, Jeff. But it's like, still got to pay the mortgage. So, you can't spend the mortgage money on Blu-rays. You got to have some, keep a roof over your head. They're going to repo my house, and then where am I going to watch my movies? So, Gershon, and it's not even close. Let's see. Oh, Gina Gershon or Gina Davis. That's a tough one. Those are like, that's like the yin and yang of the Ginas, right? Like you got two Ginas, but they're very much like opposite sides of the coin. Because Gina Gershon is like, I don't know, she just got a look. And I mean, of course, we're talking about Gina Gershon like circa mid-90s, right? We're not talking about today. Same thing with Gina Davis. Has more of a girl next door type of thing. Like Gina Davis seems more like she's sweet. She's going to bake you cookies, blah, blah, blah. Gina Gershon is going to jerk you off in the grocery store, right? Like you're going to go grocery shopping. You're going to bump into her. She's going to be like, hey, come over here. I want to show you something. And you're going to be in the back, like where they have the live lobsters kind of tucked away in that corner. Because nobody's spending $24 a pound on live Maine lobsters in Atlanta. And she's just going to jerk you off, like right over there by the deli counter or something like that. Everyone's going to be over there trying to get their like boar's head turkey. No one's going to be looking at you like on the other side of the thing. And she's just, so I don't know. I think I'm going Gina Gershon too, just for the dirty kind of, Yeah. Toronto is still hot and humid. Are you being serious right now? Toronto is beautiful. It's hot here. Is it hot in Toronto? Because I'm in Maine and it was warmer today, but it wasn't, I wouldn't call it hot by any means. September. Hard bodies or spring break? I'm going to go with hard bodies. I got like a soft spot for hard bodies. I got a soft spot for hard bodies. Or I got a hard spot for hard bodies. I don't know. But I thought it sounded cooler saying I got a soft spot for hard bodies. So I don't know that Better Off Dead is a winter movie. Why? Oh, well, let me explain. This is my lane. This is my wheelhouse here. I can tell you exactly why. So Better Off Dead, when he's at his house, mostly it looks like fall. There's no snow in his neighborhood. There's no snow on his lawn. There are some dead leaves, but many times throughout the film, he goes up to the mountain so he can go skiing. There is a prominent Christmas scene. There's a prominent New Year's scene. So it's quite clear that most of the action in this film is taking place probably in California, somewhere where, you have snowy mountains within reach, but also it's not like covered in snow everywhere like in Maine during the wintertime. So, yeah, it's quite obvious that the film picks up probably sometime in the fall semester. It shows them in school, so that it's obviously not happening during the summertime. And you have the Christmas scene. So film probably picks up. There's no Halloween scene, so I don't know how early in the fall this film picks up, but it does seem to begin shortly before Christmas. Lane's girlfriend dumps him so she can go out with the other dude, and he gets her a nice Christmas gift, and Lane gets her a lame Christmas gift, and the whole thing is, there's that whole Christmas scene. Then there is the New Year's Eve dance scene, and that's where he meets Monique or starts to get to know Monique a little bit better. And so then the rest of the film, the back half of the film, takes place after New Year's, but probably in January because he's skiing for much of the time. And yeah, I know there's places that you can ski in the summertime too, but why? You know what I mean? Skiing, snow skiing is not a summertime activity. Water skiing, on the other hand, I'm from Georgia. People, when I moved up to New England, people were like, do you ski? I'm like, I fucking water ski. I will drink moonshine on the back of a boat and then go slalom any day of the damned week. But I don't do the snowy mountaintop thing. It's just never been my thing. Anyway, I like Oasis too. Rescue Me? Are we talking about the TV show now? Rescue Me? I remember that TV show. I haven't seen that in a long ass time. Ski Patrol or Ski School? Oh, I don't know. They're both about even to me. I'm gonna go with Ski School. I think Ski School I have a little bit better, like more nostalgic memories of. Gina Gershon can do whatever to me anywhere. But Gina Gershon now, are we talking about like you're gonna time travel back to 1995? Because I think you really want to get at Gina Gershon like 30 years ago. That's I think the sweet spot. And like nowadays, I don't know if that would be quite as enjoyable. So. Hey, we got a lot of Ohio trash in here. Cheers to you guys. Cheers to Ohio. Iron Eagle needs a 4K. I'm sure Iron Eagle will go 4K. I think everything's going to get a 4K. I'm very glad recently there has been a lot less of the midwittery, like physical media is dying YouTube videos. I feel like a year ago I was seeing so many videos that were people trying to paint themselves as reasonable human beings while also saying dumb shit like physical media is dying. That would be like all over the thumbnails, like physical media is dying. I'm like, if physical media is dying, you explain to me why I've got 15 fucking movies on pre-order and they keep coming. You can explain to me why they keep coming, why we got 4Ks of fucking Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore. Anyway, it has been very, I think, very relieving and maybe even a little, I don't know, gratifying might be the word, but it's been vindicating for me personally that I think people have finally shut up about physical media is dying because, like, bro, it clearly is not dying. It's like going the other way. Sony's still dropping shit on like, we just got a 4K of Night of the Living Dead from 1990. Okay, physical media is not dying if they're going to drop Night of the Living Dead from 1990, the remake, the Tom Savini remake on 4K. It's not dying at all. They're looking for more shit to release on 4K because we're buying it. It's not like all the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly didn't sell out in half a day, and the Conan Chronicles, people weren't clawing each other's eyes out to get this fucking thing. Anyway, that's not my point. My point is not that people were wrong and people were idiots for saying in front of the entire internet, and they should be held accountable for their stupidity, and they should be recognized as the midwits they are for saying dumb shit like physical media is dying. I never said that shit. Go back and look at any of my videos. It ain't dying. And I always said it wasn't dying, and it annoyed me when people said it because I'm like, you're clearly wrong. You're either an idiot and you actually believe this shit, or you're lying, you're just trying to get clicks, which is more often what I think it was. But at any rate, I'm very glad that people aren't like 4K or aren't like physical media is dying, because I do think that eventually just about everything's going to get a 4K release. And we're going to have to wait some years. There's, I think, a lot of life left in the 4K format, especially with people kind of coming back to physical media, getting back away from streaming and starting to curate their own collections again. Like all of us here, you people, me, all of us that have our own collections of films, that want to own films, that want to have a collection that tells you, like, if you stand in front of my collection, like Brian from Last Movie Standing did about a month or so ago, you stand in front of the shelf and you look, it's like you can learn something about somebody by looking at what they've curated and what their tastes are. I feel like you kind of get to know somebody a little bit better by going through their movies, and that's a weird thing. It's like the movie fan, the physical media fan version of dogs sniffing each other's butts, maybe, but it still is kind of an effective way of like getting somebody's vibe a little bit by what they got on their shelves and what kind of shit they're putting out there. But I think everything is going to get a 4K. I think, you know, we got a solid 5, 6, 7, 8 years left on 4K at least. I think TVs are going to get better. I think more and more stuff is going to come out on the 4K format. I think we're going to get upgrades of things. I mean, we're getting the goddamn Enter the Ninja trilogy on 4K. I mean, when they start digging down deep enough to get Sho Kosugi movies and put those on 4K, they're willing to work with us. They're willing to give us shit. If we keep buying, they're going to keep, if they keep selling out on Conan the Barbarian, limited edition chunky boxes, you better believe they're going to keep throwing. They're going to throw the Mask at us. They're going to throw Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles trilogy at us. Arrow's going to keep on chug-a-lugging. I don't think Arrow's going anywhere. Vinegar Syndrome's making money hand over fist. I don't think they're going anywhere. So, I mean, we're going to keep getting stuff from these boutiques. I think it's just a matter of time before all of our favorite movies are going to be hitting 4K. So it makes it scary to buy Blu-rays these days, but, you know, it is what it is. Groot says, ask Chase. He hasn't, I'm guessing you meant hasn't instead of haven't seen Blood In, Blood Out. Have you? I have seen Blood In, Blood Out. It has been seen Blood In, Blood In. Do you mean Blood In, Blood Out or Blood In, Blood? Because there's no out there. So I want to make sure that that is not a different movie, Blood In, Blood. Because I haven't seen Blood In, Blood. I've seen Blood In, Blood Out. But I just want to make sure that I'm reading your comment properly. I did drink a bottle of champagne, so, you know. It's not you, it's me, okay? It's definitely not you. It is definitely my blood alcohol. Ah, man, I hope Taco Bell is still open. I can't wait to get in the car and drive over there. Just kidding, everybody. Just kidding. I'll microwave some leftovers. I'm not getting in the car. Boogie Nights. Yeah, we need a 4K for Boogie Nights. I mean, there is a lot of stuff, I think, that has yet to come to 4K. And so it is kind of wild when something big that was like a big deal in the 90s, Boogie Nights. I watched that one with the same girl I watched The Jackal with, actually. And that one I was like, okay, this is leading in the direction I would like for things to go. Things are proceeding. Anyway, for Boogie Nights to not have a 4K, but for something like Night of the Living Dead 1990, it does seem like a little weird. It doesn't seem like they're going in order of popularity or even prestige, because I don't doubt that Boogie Nights is a more well-recognized, I mean, it's got Mark Wahlberg in it than Night of the Living Dead 1990. I do think Night of the Living Dead 1990 is a more of a lesser-known film. I mean, we know about it, but we're all part of this niche community that knows about that. I think if you were to ask a normie like one of my brothers, like, yo, have you seen the Night of the Living Dead remake directed by Tom Savini? They'd be like, the fuck you talking about? You on drugs again, bro? Yes, There Will Be Blood 4K is coming soon. Yep, that's going to be good. Seb951, hey, holler at me. Let me know what you thought. If you do wind up watching Better Off Dead tonight, I won't fight you over it. I still love you. I'm a Catholic Buddhist. I love everybody. I still love you. Let me know what you think. You haven't seen it in a long time, so I would be curious to know how it hits you. I do think the 4K looks pretty good. I don't think it's like life-changing 4K, but it looks pretty good. I popped the DVD in to kind of compare them side by side. It's definitely a big upgrade. If you haven't seen the movie in 30 years, I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Anyway, Seb, 951, thank you for hanging out. You are a dirty mofo, too, because you've seen La Blue Girl, haven't you? I know you have. You're not even going to watch Better Off Dead. You're going to watch La Blue Girl now that I brought it up. Anyway, Killer Joe 4K, please. Yeah, I'm down for anything on 4K. I don't need to see your movies to know you're out of your mind. Yes, also true. I would like to think that that's fairly clear after this live stream. John Cusack in High Fidelity. I remember when High Fidelity came out, I went to see that in theaters with the guy. I actually worked at a record store, much like High Fidelity. I worked at a record store. It was a mom and pop record store owned by a guy, kind of a crazy dude. And he was a good guy, but he was a little bit insane. And I went to see it with him and a couple other folks. Had like a little group together. We went to see High Fidelity. I actually remember reading the book. The book had been left in his record store because it was a book about a record store owner. So they gave him the book. And I remember borrowing it and reading it before we went to go see the movie. And so I read the book even before the movie. But I like High Fidelity okay. I like John Cusack. I got to say, I'm a big like One Crazy Summer Better Off Dead fan. I do like John Cusack, the 80s films. The Grifter's great. I do like a lot of John Cusack's work. I will say High Fidelity is not necessarily my favorite. He's just a little too emo in that film. I much more prefer, for that era of John Cusack, I much more prefer something like Grosse Point Blank, where he's dropping a television set on Dan Aykroyd's fucking face. I like that one. So High Fidelity is good too, but I will take Grosse Point Blank any day for like that sort of late 90s era for John Cusack films. Chase has not seen Blood In, Blood Out, but hey, you never know. Maybe there's a Wild Bunch commentary waiting to happen right there. It is a prison movie, yeah. Blood In, Blood Out or American Me? American Me is another prison film, right? American Me is the one with, what's his face in it? The guy. Edward James Olmos. That only took a second. I managed to pull that one out, and that's even after a bottle of champagne. So the wheels are still turning somewhat, a little bit. Blood In, Blood Out, also known as Bound by Honor. I didn't know it was known by a different name. Was that like a different territory? Got like released in Europe as like Bound by Honor. Sometimes they do that. Wonderland more than Boogie Nights, even though Boogie Nights is more fun. Yeah. And then you get to see the dong at the end, but I heard that was a prosthetic. But even still, if you're Mark Wahlberg and you get to basically make your name on a movie that's just about you having a huge cock, that's got to be kind of good. You know, you got to read that and think, okay, I'm going to be in this movie where everyone talks about how big my ding dong is, and everyone's going to go see this movie and think I got a huge fucking hog. I would have said yes to that as well if they had offered it to me. Showing her the Jackal after watching Boogie Nights tracks. Well, now actually I think we watched Jackal first. I don't remember if we watched Jackal first or Boogie Nights first. And it wasn't like a movie marathon. It was like one day we watched the Jackal and then a different day we watched Boogie Nights, but we're talking about like 1997. I don't really remember it too well, but you know, things eventually went my way. I'll say that. I'm a gentleman. So things eventually went my way. Oh, Grosse Point Blank. I think Grosse Point Blank may be a bit underrated. Sure Thing is a great movie. A Sure Thing is another one that's like, it's set right there around the holidays. It's like post-Christmas, but pre-New Year's, because he's trying to get across the country in time for like a New Year's Eve party or whatever, but it's in California, so of course it's got all the California visuals, like the beach and the bikini. And so like when you look at The Sure Thing, the cover is like the girl on the beach in the bikini and the sun and the sunglasses and the suntan, and it looks very much like a summer movie. And then you watch it and it's like he's on his winter break from college. You know, it's like snowing in the very first scene when he's at college, and you know, then he like road trips it across the country to go join his high school buddy who smartly went to college in California, where it's like still 85 degrees even on December the 29th or whatever it is. So it's like, that's another one where it's like the visuals kind of scream summer, but don't let them fool you. If you pop that bitch in the summertime, you're going to wind up watching a winter-ass movie because they are trekking it across the country. It's like almost like, you know, planes, trains, and automobiles style. It's not quite that level of shenanigans, but, you know, they're trekking across the country, and it's that snowy time. It's like cold. They're wearing coats and stuff the whole movie because it's like December the 30th or whatever. And so The Sure Thing is another one that I'll bust out, you know, in that time after Christmas where you're just, you know, chilling. You got a week off. I like to take time off around Christmas time. I like to have like a week off between Christmas and New Year's, and I just like to kick my feet up and chill and relax and stuff during that time. And that's a movie I'll watch during that time as well. Lean on Me. I'm going to go with Lean on Me in that one. Okay, 1408 is a legit Cusack movie. I agree. It's got Samuel L. Jackson in it as well. But that film in particular, I don't know. I hesitate to go off on this tangent, but like the movies like that, like The Shining makes sense because the Overlook Hotel, like the whole hotel is fucked up, right? Like it's not like any part of that hotel is not fucked up. That hotel is like the entire, like even the grounds. I have a hard time wrapping my mind around a hotel that's like a totally normal place of business, except one room. You know, like the whole hotel is normal. You could stay right underneath that room or right above that room, presumably even adjacent to that room, even though I don't think they have. I think they closed that whole floor just for 1408. But like if I stayed in 1409, presumably I would be fine. It's just that one room that's fucked up. And I have a hard time wrapping my brain around a horror movie where like on the other side of this wall, somebody's eating a birthday cake, getting their dick sucked, dancing with a hooker. I mean, whatever fun, doing tons of blow and having a great time listening to 80s music, One Way Love by E.G. Daily. Maybe E.G. Daily is in the room with them. They're dancing, they're partying, they're doing like the crackers and throwing up and it's like confetti, it's New Year's Eve, and everyone's having a great time. But then on the other side of this one wall, this dude is having like a total fucking nightmare because this one room is possessed. But for some reason, whatever animating force is possessing this room to do evil, you know, a ghost, a haunting, anything, it respects these total arbitrary boundaries made out of like plaster and drywall. Like the ghost is like, I'm not going to cross the insulation. You know what I mean? There's like electricity. There's plumbing up there. I'm going to stay down here in 1408. If you're in 1508 right above me, I'm not going to fuck with you. Now, you might hear some weird shit coming from down below as this guy has this fucking crazy nightmare and, like, I don't know, dies, kills himself, sets the room on fire, who knows? But the rest of the hotel is just like, yeah, it's just a normal hotel. What do people do at hotels? What do you do at a hotel? Hookers. That's what you do at a hotel. Drugs, hookers, alcohol. That's what you do at a hotel. You got a normal hotel where everyone's, like, doing the seedy shit that they don't want to do at their own home. But just stay out of this one room because it's haunted as fuck. And most of the time, when it's not John Cusack, everybody stays out of that room. So what do you think the ghost is doing? Just tapping their foot, just like, yeah, they got the person right above me, and they're doing cocaine again, and they're banging the hooker in their room, and the person below me also doing the drugs and banging the hookers. But I'm going to respect the carpet and the drywall and the plaster and the cinder block, and I'm not going to go through them with my fucking spirit and fuck with the whole hotel, which makes sense. In The Shining, The Shining makes sense. I can watch The Shining without going nuts. But 1408, it's like, why one fucking room? You're going to, like, all right, this is the nightmare box. And if you move this way 6 inches, you're out of the nightmare box. And the ghost can't touch you, or whatever animating force is possessing that room. I don't remember 1408. It's been like 10 years since I watched 1408. It kind of drives me a little bit nuts about 1408 because I want to like 1408. I really want to like 1408 because the concept fascinates me. On the other hand, I don't understand why the ghost or paranormal force, whatever it is, why would this evil entity respect drywall? Why would the ghost respect drywall? That's another thing about haunted house movies too. It's like you got a haunted house. Poltergeist. Poltergeist is another one that just fucks with me for the same reason. Because they make a point in Poltergeist in the beginning of the movie to show you how densely packed this suburban neighborhood is. Because they show you how close the houses are. The guy like hands the dude the thing, and the dude from the other house grabs it. That's how close their houses are. But you're going to tell me that they fuck with the one family. The Indians are mad because you built the whole neighborhood on top of their burial ground. We're going to fuck with this one family and this little girl in particular. Everybody else is off the hook. We're going to respect this tiny bit of yard space and this brick wall here. And we're just going to stay right inside here and fuck with everybody inside this particular space. But the guy 6 inches this way, 12 inches this way, who's also buried on my Indian homeboy, we're not going to fuck with him. There's not going to be any trees abducting his children out the window. There's not going to be zombie skeletons coming out of his fucking unbuilt, unfinished pool. Poltergeist, I want to like Poltergeist as well. I want to love Poltergeist as much as the rest of you guys do. But same thing with 1408. At the end of the day, I'm like, why would the ghost or whatever, the supernatural entity, the bad guy, why would they respect this arbitrary thing? Like some dude 6 months ago built this house. They're new construction too. Like the ghost's been dead for fucking hundreds of years. You build a house and then 3 days later, I guess we're just going to haunt this one fucking house that's been here for about a week and a half. It makes no sense to me. I don't know. It makes no sense. Good night, Carrie. Look, I'm going to be heading out soon too. I can't believe it's almost 1 a.m. I thought I was going to go for an hour. And I blame you guys. You guys got me started, got me wound up. I blame the bottle of champagne too. You guys got me wound. And look, I went for, what is that? It's like 3 hours. I started at 10. I went 3 hours and I was going to go 1 hour. So I think there were just enough people in the chat. I thought it was going to be like nobody here. I thought it was going to be like 3 of us. And I was going, okay, like I'll riff for an hour and then call it quits. But I'm not even going to be able to watch a movie tonight because I got to go to bed. Tomorrow is Saturday. And something you guys may not know is that my kids wake up Saturday morning and I allow them to have 1 day a week. I allow them to have like bullshit cereal, like Lucky Charms, like Fruity Pebbles, that kind of shit. 1 day a week. That's not an everyday cereal. We call it Saturday morning cereal in this house. We eat that 1 day. You want Cinnamon Toast Crunch? Wait till Saturday. That kind of thing. Tomorrow is Saturday. So I got kids who are going to wake up like, I'm allowed to eat some bullshit now, so you get the fuck up too and come feed me the bullshit you promised me. So they don't tend to let me sleep too late on Saturday mornings because they're like, I need you to reach up there to get the marshmallows off the high shelf where the Lucky Charms are. I don't know if you guys know this, but Lucky Charms has like a special thing going right now where the rainbow marshmallows are literally this big. They're fucking huge. It's like the size of like 8 marshmallows. They're this big. It's amazing. It's glorious. It's the best Lucky Charms you've ever tasted because the marshmallows are literally like on steroids for the rainbows, just the rainbow ones. I don't know. It's like, why didn't you do this in June? Why are you doing this in September? Like, if you're going to make am I right? I'm not even trying to be that way. Like, I don't know. Do it in June. You're going to make the giant rainbows. Do it in June, right? That's the month for that kind of thing. You could tie it in and everybody would love it. Anyway. Yeah, I think the room, yeah, even if it is a gateway, it just makes no sense to me that you would go inside that room and you would experience all of this like wild shit and there's just somebody like, because it's still like a physical, like you have to walk through that physical door. There's like a carpet. There's other rooms adjacent, above, below that people are using for completely normal hotel shit. And it just blows my mind that you could be just a few feet separated, one little piece of drywall and having just such a wildly different experience. And I don't know if I love it or if I hate it, or maybe it's both. But anyway, yeah, I think 1408 is definitely a good horror film. It's definitely an enjoyable film, even if it just doesn't make sense why a haunting would stop. Like I mean, like haunted house movies, like, oh, somebody died in the house or whatever. Okay, it sort of makes sense because when they lived in that house and they died in that house. So it sort of makes sense that their ghosts would occupy this physical space that they were very familiar with in their life. But like Poltergeist, it makes no sense. The fucking Indians that were buried there was like, They're buried there 400 years before the stupid house got built. Why would they haunt a house? Why would they haunt that one little blonde-headed white girl? Why they gotta yank her into the TV? Try to kill her brother with a tree or some shit. And yet there's a house, there's 200 houses in that development. And they're not fucking with any of the other 199 houses that are all this far apart. Anyway, I'm going to try not to get started on that because I got to pee pretty bad at this point. As you could probably understand, I got to pee kind of bad. It's 1 a.m. And I got kids that are going to be like, wake up, wake up, wake up, feed me sugar, feed me sugar, feed me sugar. So thank you guys. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for hanging out tonight. Thank you for hanging out just in general. 500 subs is not a lot. It really isn't. But also comparison is the thief of joy. So every time somebody's like, hey, you said something funny and it made me spit out my drink, like I haven't made a dime off of YouTube, but it feels good in my heart when people say I made them laugh, or I said something funny, or you know, whatever. That's kind of what I'm here for. So I appreciate y'all motherfuckers. Y'all are the real ones. And thanks for hanging. Oh, man, my kids don't have Uncrustables. Brad, I don't bring no one. My wife is a registered dietitian. I have a master's degree in nutrition science. Like, I mean, there's just, I'm like, that's like being a like DEA agent and bringing crack cocaine home and like, I'm going to just give this shit to my family. Y'all want to smoke some crack? I work for the DEA. Let's smoke some crack. I feel like if I bought Uncrustables, I would lose my entire everything I've worked for. Matt, go watch Poltergeist. It's almost October. It is almost time. You need to see Poltergeist. You need to see Poltergeist between now and the 31st of October. That's your homework? You got homework, okay? It's not bad homework, but let me know what you think about it, too. Go watch Poltergeist. Come back. Say it sucked or it didn't suck. It rocked. It was awesome. You know, I want to hear what you think about it. It is a good film. I mean, it's like, I'm passionate about it, clearly. But, you know, if I hated it, I would just be entirely indifferent. Jeff, take some insulin before you eat those Lucky Charms. You can't be fucking around. You got to take, I don't know. I like to take like 8 or 9, 10 units. Depends on how much cereal you eat, obviously. But I'm not screwing around with that. I'm taking some units for those Lucky Charms because you got to do it. Anyway, I'm going to say good night to you all. I love you all. You all very fine people. And I'm really going to wet my pants. So peace, y'all.